Oh, hello. Good evening. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for joining me. Let's go ahead and get started. This is episode number 231. Now, I think you've noticed that lately I've stopped like doing just episode hashtag 231, right? So I've been putting a particular type of item or a tool even for each individual episode. So, like, tonight is episode hashtag M231. If you know what an M231 is, I would like to see it in the comments. Sound off if you know what it is. So, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Dark with DLD After Dark. Let's go ahead and get started with episode 231. So, first, I want to say thank you to all the channel members. It looks like first tonight was Key ASC. Channel member, congratulations, my brother. Thank you for coming in. And let's see what other channel members we got. Safeline, what's up, brother? Safeline Live. Did you drop the live? What happened, man? One Love Design, channel member. C&T Designs, what's up, brother? Channel member. Mike McClune, channel member. Who else we got up in here? Okay, C&T Designs, Mike McClune, One Love. One Love. Oh, hey, yo, Rusty Shackelford, what's up, brother? Channa, member. Goon Beam. Hey, and just so y'all know, the Goon Beams are still rocking. Whoa! Big time, still rocking it. And this is the one that I have like dropped. I have thrown on the ground. I've thrown it in water. I've thrown it in the bathtub, which probably wasn't a good idea while my little one was in the bath. It's all good. Goon Beams are safe for all ages. Heath, Chenamemba, what's up, brother? Again, thank you for joining us. Oh, snap. Did I just get a notification for myself? Did I just get a notification that myself just went live? That's crazy. That usually does not happen, actually. Let's see. Who else we got up in here? Going through. Here he is. T for Tejas. What's up, brother? Another channel member. Man, if it wasn't for the channel members, I mean, I don't know what I would do without y'all, man. Y'all are my knights in shining armors. Who else we got? Going through. DB Cooper. What's up, brother? Channel member. Dark World. Oh, somebody, I was talking on the Tactical Turkeys live stream, and I said, ask me about the Dark 18. A lot of people don't know about the Dark 18, so I'm going to put y'all onto it tonight. Jeff Cron, what's up, brother? Tooth Fairy. See? Somebody read the post. The Tooth Fairy came. We got a funny story about that, too. Can't wait to share that with y'all. And I got a dope guest, so hang on tight. All right, and I got this food stuck in my teeth that, bro, has been there for like an hour and a half, and it's driving me crazy. Oh, Mo Better Prince, what's up? What's up? Okay, who else we got? Jeff Crown. I think I said what's up to Jeff Crown. Evan Budzinski, what's up, brother? Thank you for joining us. Another channel member. All y'all the shit, man. I couldn't do it without y'all. For real. Who else? Safe line. See, this is how emojis show up on my side. So I can't even see like emojis, like my emojis, the DLD After Dark emojis. Can't even see that shit, bro. No Better Prince, Mike McClune. Hey, BV Luminous. What's up, brother? Oh, sorry. Chena member. What's up, brother? Look at that. We got 62 people in here already. We just getting started. We about to do this. That Goon Beam. If anybody out there is looking for the dopest flashlights, like the brightest flashlights, like my EDC flashlight is 1250 lumens and 85,000 candela, bro. And this is an indestructible EDC, and nobody has yet destroyed it. Ron Wayne, Chenamemba, what's up, brother? Oh, VA. That's what's up, man. Virginia in the house. Bjorn Dularp. What up? Oh, I'm seeing some oh shit, I'm seeing them turkeys, bro. Damn, we got a whole gang of turkeys. Okay, we about to get it in. All right, who else? Safeline, C&T. I think I said what's up. C&T Designs, what's up, brother? Now, of course, we got the honorable mentions. Let's go ahead and show some support. We had Carbon Q, Tactical Turkeys. If you guys have not subscribed to Tactical Turkeys, Go check them out. They actually, funny enough, run a schedule almost exactly the same as mine. They just stream and finish right before your boy starts. So check them out. So we got CDL, Sport Brand, our favorite mod. What's up, brother? Big Easy. We got Rodney Brady, Ryo Tactic. We got C-Man, Chris Stevenson. We got Shannon. Shannon, thank you for shouting me out, man. Appreciate that, man. Man, girl, man. You, thank you. Appreciate you. Who else we got? Andre the Giant. We got Clint Eastwood. We got Craig Licka. We got that dude, Knowledge Garage. That sounds like a channel. You may want to check your boy out. And who else? We got Big Fish. What up? Carpenter, what's going on, brother? Good to see you, man. Thirsty Colt, bro. Where you been at, dude? Damn, ain't seen in a minute. All right, Tap In Productions. What up? Let me go back. We got Parents Eye Photography. Damn, we getting a whole bunch of new people in here, man. I think this is all the turkeys. DLD, salute. Thank you for joining us. Mr. Bullshit, what up? And I saw earlier you said Dark is a pretty good dude. That's what's up. Thank you. We got Big Easy, Live Life, Bjorn, Gerchop. We got Senor Gerchop. Armel, thank you for joining us. Misty, Miss Wayne, of course, Ron Wayne, the partners, the power couple of the evening. Safety Doc, Marconi, M16 to M2. So this was, as soon as I bring my guest on, I'll bring that up. Senor Boob, what's up? Porous Typo, what up? P38 Wilberto. And we got Sporty Brandy, of course, like I mentioned. And who else we got? I know we got to gang them up because in here, Thirsty Cold, Too Many Choices. SABR is here? What? SABR is here? Stop playing. Don't tell me SABR is here. See, you rocking that Goon Beam too. P38 Wilbur, what's up, brother? Good to see you. Howard J, Big Easy, Tex Bullington, all y'all, man. This is great, man. So thank you, everybody, for stopping by. We're going to go ahead and get started. So if we could, SABR Prince, here we are. We just started. We already got 81 people in here. Tell the world who you are, what you do, and where they can find you.
My name is SABR Prince. You can find me on Instagram, YouTube, SABR Prince 2A. Make sure you guys watch that. And then you could find me under the stars dancing to drums and flutes while I shroom the fuck out. SABR.
I heard that they can find you in the club.
Not the club, bro.
I don't know.
Not that.
No, you don't remember that old ass 50 Cent?
No, yeah. You can find me at the club, bucket full of dubs.
We'll probably get a copyright strike just for that.
For real.
But let's go ahead and get started. So you print shit. You have become knowledgeable in the art of printing.
Yeah, for sure.
Discuss that. Are you familiar with what an M231 is?
I'm not gonna lie, bro. No, I'm not. I know there's like it's a gun, right? But I don't know.
It is,
to be honest.
It's the most special firearm that is not special at all.
Well, okay, so why is that?
So this is think of it like this. So if you got like a bunch of dudes crammed in like an armored personnel carrier or like a tank or like some shit like that.
Yeah.
Back when this was originally developed, you couldn't rock like a 20-inch M16. There just wasn't enough room. So what they did is they took an AR-15 platform, M16 platform, and they chopped it down and not only reduced the buffer significantly, but the front of it actually has threads on the handguard.
Mm-hmm.
So they can actually stick it out of a little spot where they can fire from.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Thread it in and literally be able to just dump magazines outside of
the armor truck.
Yeah. So
holy shit.
Yeah, it's kind of like the plunger on a on an armored truck, that kind of thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So I think Marconi was the first one that open bolt. I think it was an open bolt. There was another M16 based machine gun by Colt. It was an LMG that came out. It was an open bolt M16. Um, it's the oven bolt. Yeah, oven bolt. Flying Rich, what's up, brother? Another channel member. Thank you for joining us. So yeah, let's. We had a couple things we were going to discuss, but you know, Sabar and us, we're having a conversation backstage before we started, right? And
about conspiracy theories and look, no, for real. So I've been thinking about this, right? Do you remember when I went to Chuck E. Cheese? We had arcades, bro. We had like arcades. We had games.
mhm.
Then Chuck E. Cheese changed to being slap thing, right? Like where everybody's just gambling, boom, 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 boom. Now,
Yeah,
right now, we have a bunch of people that are addicted to those slap games, right? Where they gamble and they go get high and they're just gambling. That shit was
bro, I
programmed
realized that.
from Chuck E. Cheese. And do you remember when you were a little kid and you would get any type of cough, right? That your throat would hurt, you would get cough, you would go to the doctor. And I remember they started prescribing uh, codeine, bro, like actual codeine. So what is it? Promethazine with codeine. To me,
Yeah,
when I was a kid, I was probably like 7 years old, and the doctor was prescribing that to me. That it's gonna have some codeine in it. So if his throat hurts or he has a fever, it's gonna help with the pain. And so they started giving this shit to us since we were kids. Then you would go to the doctor, my back. Oh, you're gonna get Darvocet, or you're gonna get Tylenol fives, right, that have codeine, or you get Vicodins, and then you keep complaining they don't work, they don't work. All right, we're gonna give you the fives, we're gonna give you the tens, then we're gonna give you the Norcos with the red dots. You remember those? So they kept
I never
changing,
had those. It's
bro.
so
So
crazy, actually. Just real quick.
go ahead.
So, talking with people like on the West Coast, and
Yeah,
talking with people like on on the East Coast where I'm at, and then talking to people like in other places, the type of drugs, especially narcotic like painkillers and shit like that, are
yeah,
completely different. It's
yeah.
almost like they have different like testing zones for shit.
I don't think it's the testing zones, but I also think it's the insurance plans, right? So
Oh,
depending on the area you're at, like say you Dark, if you're in a private, like the area you live at is around where John Crump used to live, right? So it's a nice
mhm.
area, it's an affluent area. So the insurance is gonna cover you to for you to get per 30s, right? Well, the insurance is not gonna cover me per 30s, but it might cover myself like the Vicodin 10s or something generic to the per 30, right?
Yeah.
And that's what they're gonna give us, right? It depends on what our insurance is able to our insurance premium, and I think that's how they did us, bro. You know what I mean?
So like programming us at a young age to where like let's say like the doctor has all the solutions, right? Or somebody in some type of authoritative figure has all the solutions and getting us like addicted to narcotic painkillers at a young
Yeah.
age. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, you remember for a while that we had an epidemic where a lot of the kids were getting prescribed Prozac, and they even made a movie about it, which is called Prozac Nation. Well,
Yeah.
my ex-wife, she was on Prozac since she was a little kid, like not a little kid, but since she was a teenager, probably 13, 12, the parents couldn't handle her, and they're not realizing she's a teenager. She has hormones. She's gonna act crazy. Plus, she's Latina, so you know she's gonna be spicy.
Yeah.
And now you're giving her Prozac, right? Or you're giving her what's what's the other stuff like that is meth, Ritalin, right?
Yeah.
And
Adderall.
now and now when you get older, either you used to do downers, okay, then you're gonna either do heroin or morphine, or you're gonna do meth or cocaine. You pick what you want and what you could afford,
Well, it is
and that's how
interesting.
it
Like
was.
going back to it, like I remember the first time I ever took a narcotic painkiller, and for anybody out there that like doesn't know, I have a history with substance abuse. I struggled with substance abuse for a long time. I've been clean for this November 5th will be 12 years, and I was an addict. I was a heroin addict. I was bad off, but. The reason I'm bringing that up, it's not to glorify anything. It's actually I have, you know, a past that's riddled with a lot of pain and heartache because of the decisions that I made, right? And nothing is to be glorified at all. It's just a conversation about it, because the likelihood of every single person out there either having someone that they love or knowing somebody that's going through that shit right now or that's in recovery is highly likely. But going back to the first time that I ever took a narcotic painkiller was when I think I said I was 15 last time, but I think I was actually 13. Was when
Yeah.
I had some oral surgery done, and I had to go 2 times. And the first time they pre-medicated me with Valium, right? And I mean that shit was like that quick. I was just like, woo! And then they got knocked out, woke up, and then they gave me 35 milligram Percocets. 30.
Damn, bro, 30? They're tripping, bro.
Bro, nowadays you get 5 if you're lucky.
Yes, bro. My dad, he had a bad car accident, right? And my dad had that bad car accident when they started saying, "Oh, these drugs are killing you," right? So my dad actually was in like a wreck, bro. They had to redo his whole spine because he got in a car accident in Mexico. So in Mexico, if they didn't redo his whole spine, bro, he was gonna be like they were gonna keep him there and make him pay bills and recovery. So they're like, "Yo, we're gonna just add a bunch of screws on you on your spine because you broke it, and then you'll be good in a month, right?" Because he needed to come back and work. So when he
Yeah,
comes back, they start giving him Vicodins. They start him at 5. It's not working. They take him up to 10. This
yeah,
man was finishing his bottles, bro, before before the prescription was renewed. And I kept telling him, bro, I'm like, Dad, don't take them every day. Take them one day yes, one day no. One day you're gonna wake up and you forgot to take your pill and you're gonna shit your pants. And he didn't believe me, bro. He didn't believe me. He popped his pills, drive all the way to TJ, drive back, just be driving on a sick one. And I'm like, Dad, you're becoming an addict. Like this is an addiction. Like I'm telling you because I went through it, right? So you're becoming an addict. So then they move him to morphine, bro. Then one day
yeah.
he comes and he's offering me pills, bro. For a little while, me and my dad, we were popping pills, working and shit, having a great ass time. But then what happens when you start popping one, start popping two, and now your dad has a script, unlimited fucking supply, bro. You know what I mean? And that's how you become an addict. So when that shit happened, bro, I looked at him and I told him, "You gotta stop." He comes, he's all like, "Nah, I'm on morphines now." And I'm like, "How are you taking them?" And he's all like, "Oh, I just put them under my mouth and let them dissolve." And I'm like, "Dad, you're a fucking addict, bro. Like, because you're not supposed to take them like that. You're supposed to pop them." But now he's taking it under his tongue with warm coffee so it could dissolve quicker and it could go straight into his bloodstream. That means my
Yeah,
father became an addict. So my father says right now, I know he's addicted to pills, but it's because he needs them
yeah,
because they didn't offer him no type of rehabilitation. They didn't offer, well, no way out. And since he does have a chronic problem, right? He has the proof, like, hey, look, I
mm.
got my whole back is like I'm pretty much the Mexican fucking Terminator, right? So he's gonna get pills, bro.
Oh,
And
once you get that, you can walk into any doctor's office and be like, "Yo, I got the magic slip right here,"
yeah,
and
yeah.
that's
And the problem that now when they're giving them a script for morphine, oh yeah, this doctor knows what's up because the government knows that this doctor's giving that, so they're not gonna think he's lying because now the opiates are being controlled by the government. Like in
yeah,
order for you to get a script, you gotta know because a lot of these clinics were popping up in Miami, in Florida, and people
yeah,
were at these pill mills, right? Like where people would
yeah.
just go and get scripts from different doctors.
They're cash clinics. That's all they are.
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
yeah, bro.
it's so real quick, just to kind of paint a picture for these guys. Like when I first got that in my young teens, 13 or maybe 15. Um, when I took my first Percocet, when I was actually in pain,
Yeah.
I was like waiting every minute that was going by. I was waiting for something to kick in, and then finally, when it kicked in, I felt this warm blanket, like just like draped all over me, and I felt this like a small burst of energy, and like
So
feeling in my body and my legs and like
Did,
my
did you feel like all your problems, all your pain, all your trauma that you had when you were a child magically disappeared, and now you're Mr. Popular. You could sell ice to a fucking Eskimo. You're the best salesman, the best fucking wordsmith, because you're high as fuck, and sometimes what you're saying is not even making sense, but
I mean
only to yourself, right?
basically, yeah. I mean that's I didn't have problems at that point. I mean I had problems, right? But like
But
I didn't have problems when I was a kid.
not
Yeah.
problems after you actually been using for
Yeah.
years,
And then
because
my brothers and sisters started getting scripts, and I would see. So I was the youngest one out of a big family,
yeah.
and I would go in and I would take a few here and take a few there,
Yes, because they're
and
not taking them all. Like, so I look.
but they would never think it was me because I was the youngest. I was the little
Yes,
baby. So my
yes,
older brothers and sisters were always getting blamed for it. But from that point, I swear to God, from 16 to today, I have not spent more than 24 hours without opiates in my system. And when I
yes.
say that, yes, I've been clean for almost 12 years. In
But
November 5th, 2010 was when I got clean. But I'm still on a maintenance medication from getting clean. They put you on another medication. This is
yes,
this is all a fucking
this is
game.
never ending. So when we talk about how deep conspiracies go, how deep people are making moves, these motherfuckers are playing chess. Like, we look, the problem with us is that a lot of times when we try to make money or try to make something for us, we become selfish and greedy, and we say, I'm not gonna leave this for my family because I worked for it. I'm gonna spend it. These guys, nah, they take their sweet time. They start planning from before we were even born to place this thing, to put this system. So when we're born, we're pretty much a consumer. We're that social security number we get, it's a bond. They're gonna say, like, okay, so every little person that's born right now that has the social security, that's money. So they're gonna find ways to keep us giving out our money, and giving out our lives and our labor. Like, we're being sacrificed. Like if you guys see that sacrifice to Moloch, we're truly being sacrificed. And that's the thing that you need to understand when you listen about the Matrix and unplugging yourself and looking at yourself being farmed. We are being farmed at this moment, guys. We're plugged in. I have Bluetooth headphones connected to me. I have a phone in my hand all the time. This is a computer. I'm being plugged into this system nonstop. I'm being bombarded. And that's what we are. We're truly cows being taken to the slaughter. Sorry, bro.
No, you're right. I mean, and that device is the same thing. That's like measuring the words that you say, the tone that you speak in, what you do, and then they're taking that and then they're pushing you in directions for the cycle of consumerism. I do want to address this though. So Bob said you replace one drug for another. So in other words, you're not clean.
Look, bro. This is what I hate about certain people saying that we're not clean, because allegedly I was an addict. No, I am an addict. I have addict tendencies. It could be drugs, it could be sex, it could be anything. I was a person with addictive tendencies. That's just how I was born. That's how I was raised. I didn't know better, right? As a child, nobody taught me anything. And when I felt a feeling, I wanted to hold on to that feeling forever, because I'm a person that never was able to speak about my emotions. That's why if you guys see me and pay attention to me, I try to talk a lot about self-love and using psychedelics to cure depression and to cure addictions, because you understand that even though we did replace a greater evil with a lesser evil, we were way worse if we didn't have this at this moment. At least now, if we get caught by the cops, we're not gonna get arrested. At least now, we're not fucking stealing shit, or going into our mother's purse and taking the last $20 out of her fucking pocketbook, knowing that she's gonna know it was me, but she's not gonna say nothing because she's my mom. But I'm over here stealing from my own blood. That's what you guys don't understand. Me leaving my little kids at home with my wife while I go to buy some milk, and it takes me fucking 5 hours to find a connect, and then I'm gonna come home and I'm just gonna nod out and not even play with my newborn son or daughter. And now you know
Mm.
what I regret. Now I can't play with my son. Now I can't talk to my son because he's dead. But I'm able to live a life where I'm able to be of service to others now. Yes, I might be or was on another substance that was helping me through my recovery, but I'm not that fucking demon or that soulless person. I have a soul now. And you guys don't know that battle. You guys don't understand how it is when you're saying that you would never shoot something up in your veins, and you're in the bathroom stuck for 2 hours while people are knocking, knowing that you're getting high in the bathroom, trying to find a vein, that it gets to the point where you start crying, and you just want to quit your life. You want to take your life right there, because you've become useless in my mind, right? Nobody's
Yeah.
useless, but in our mind we become dirt, despicable, the scum of scum. But
Yeah.
now
I mean, that's, go ahead.
now we're here, right, talking to you guys. Dark has a fucking business. Dark has a family. Dark has a show. Dark is a better Dark. And it doesn't matter what he's on at this moment, but he's a better person. And maybe one day he might be able to get off of it, because there's always a might, right? I did it. I was able to get off of methadone. But that's why you need to find out who you are and why you were going through those situations, and why were you being mad. Like, that's the true definition of madness, is doing something over and over and over and expecting different outcomes. That's what we were doing. We were getting high and trying to say like, nah, fool, tomorrow I'm good. And then one day we'll get high, the next day we won't, and then we'll get high, and then no, and then it comes to where we're getting high like for a whole week. Now we're fucked. We can't stop, because if we stop, we quit our
Yeah.
jobs. Because if we stop, we're gonna be addicts, and everybody's gonna know. So we gotta keep the long con till so people don't know we're addicts.
Yeah. I mean, if anything, people thought I was high when I was sick, and then people thought I was normal when I was high. Like, it was this
Facts.
weird tug of war, right?
Yeah.
But like, I would say it like this. So a lot of people say like, oh, like, you were on drugs and then you got on a medication to get off drugs, so you're not clean. I would say it like this. You gotta think of it from perspectives, right? I'm not giving an excuse for somebody being on some type of opiate based medication, but at the same time, you gotta understand that the perspective is, yeah, I was a heroin addict. I was addicted to heroin. I was shooting drugs intravenously, which is terrible for you. It is literal Russian roulette every time. And I went from that to, gaining my life back, gaining my freedom back, and just being well all day, every day. No more sickness, no more running around or any of that shit.
Like,
So I see it like this. I went from a hopeless dope fiend to a dopeless hope fiend. You
could
know
I
what I
ask you a
mean?
question, bro? Like, how
Yeah.
long? How long after what did you choose? Did you go from to methadone or Suboxone?
I went to Suboxone first.
Okay.
And then I realized it took over a year. But after a year of being on Suboxone, I started getting, at first, it was a godsend. It
Yeah.
was like, oh my God, I'm not
Yeah.
spending all my time running around chasing money, chasing drugs, just trying to like get well. Because that's what people don't realize is that like a lot of people do drugs just to get like high. Most of us, when you're in that like that race, that chase or whatever, you're just doing drugs to get well, to
Yeah,
get
yeah, to be
normal.
normal. We don't even get you don't get high anymore. Like, I wouldn't, like, people didn't understand that. They're like, bro, why you use? I'm like, bro, I need to feel normal. Like, if I stopped
Yeah,
using, I wouldn't be able to work. I wouldn't need, like, and the thing is that you guys need to understand. Some of us have been on drugs since kids, so when we get off of drugs, we get all these new type of emotions that we don't know how to control, right? We don't know what it feels to be normal. We don't know anger. We don't know this. We don't know certain emotions because we've never been normal. We've always been under the influence of something in life. And people try to say like, I can't understand that. I'll put it this simple. I'm pretty sure there's a bunch of you guys out there that have to have their cup of coffee every day. And if you don't have that cup of coffee, you're gonna get a headache. or you're going to have a bad day. That's what happens when you get used to a substance. When your body gets used to a substance, the thing that people don't understand is when you're addicted to opiates, it's not mental, it's mental and physical. When you're addicted to like cocaine and meth and other drugs, even marijuana, it's mental, it's the feeling you get. But when you're addicted to opiates, it's your body needs it. Like you've never felt, if you guys like, you know what's funny though, everybody got scared during COVID. I was never scared during COVID because I've been way sicker than what people said they were during COVID. You know what I mean? And if you notice this, a
It's
lot of
true.
people that were on dope never got COVID because the dope cured everything. Once you got off of dope, you felt that pain when you got ran over by a car, when you were in a bike trying to score. You feel the pain where you landed on your elbow because you fell down and you were like going on a, like you were doing dumbass shit. You start feeling all those aches and pains once you get off the opiates, right? I mean, that's how it was
That
for
is
me. I
true.
don't know. I
Yeah,
don't
that
know
is
about
true.
you. I started
Yeah,
feeling
and no,
old.
it's definitely like a course correction. And I'm sorry that guys, for some reason up here in my gun room, my internet's like a little spotty. I'm working on that right now, so just bear with me. If it starts to go out, I'll be right back. So my apologies. But yeah, I think of it like this, like sometimes when we're talking about this, and like I get it, guys. Like a lot of people come here to discuss like guns, building guns, printing guns, freedom, you know, all the shit that we talk about, right? But like we talk about all that to preserve life, to preserve liberty, right? And part of the conversations of life and life preservation is this type of shit because trust me, this conversation gets deeper. But the reality of it is like when we're having this conversation, we start to say things like, like y'all don't know, like y'all don't get it. But I don't know. I disagree. I think that there's um, probably almost every single person in chat right now either is going through it, has gone through it, knows somebody that's going through it or gone through it, or has a loved one that's going through it or gone through it.
Yeah,
I would not be surprised to hear that. So I don't mean to like say anything to anybody like that because I mean, it is way more widespread. I just want to take the stigma out of it and actually have a conversation around it because most
yeah,
people are not comfortable talking about it. Like, how many people would have come on camera and be like, "I was a heroin addict. I shot drugs in my veins for years." But people don't talk about shit like that.
yeah.
But
And it sucks, bro, because a lot of the times people think that things should be legal and should be taken, like, in, you know how certain places are giving free needles and stuff like that, right?
Mhm.
And I'm not saying no to that, right? Everything, I know when things are legal, we don't look at it the same way because when marijuana became legal in California, people kind of stopped, like, I mean, they still get high, but it wasn't like before that everybody was trying to do it. But at the same time, what I'll say is that everybody's here today for a certain reason and for a certain purpose. And if you guys knew uh, how it is to go through certain battles in life, and sometimes I wish I was strong enough that I didn't have to deal with my pain and my emotion with a substance, right? But I wasn't. I wasn't taught how. I wasn't taught about if you have feelings, it's okay to let them out. I was raised in a place where I couldn't talk about my feelings because I would be considered weak. Um, just because my skin was lighter than the people I grew up with, I wasn't Mexican enough. So I had to be the one that had to be somebody that I wasn't, because if not, I would have gotten eaten alive in these streets. The thing is that we need to start making things about emotions and feelings a little bit more open and explain to our kids what it is, right? And how it is to be this way and that way. But I think a lot of the times we don't realize that even our parents weren't taught to be parents. But yeah, man. Go ahead, bro.
especially back
Sorry.
then, especially
Yeah.
back then, like, I mean, there's so much like now available at our fingertips, right? Like, I was watching. the Tactical Turkeys live stream, right? They were talking about aim point optics. Somebody said, "How big is an aim point optic, or some particular aim point optic?" I think it was an acro, right? Within literally like 30 seconds, somebody in the comments and said 39 millimeters.
Yeah.
Say my
You're
son.
you're breaking up, bro. There, I think you're good.
My bad. Yeah, I should be back now. My bad. We have the ability now to be like, okay, my son or my daughter is doing this or experiencing this. Like, what is it, and what's the solution at our fingertips, right? Like, and even then, not everything we see is correct, right? And not everything we see is good info. But back then, like it would take a week to get somebody a letter, and then it would take them whatever time they took to write it. Then it would take another week to get back to you. Like that, we're in a completely different age, and I think back then um, we didn't focus on like growth and development as much. We didn't focus on becoming better versions of ourselves as much. Now I will say that like from a standpoint of like what's the best word damn, I'm drawing a blank. It's like when I'm trying to think of something like when you're describing um damn, let me grab this pocket constitution. I read it in here and I'm totally drawing a fucking blank.
No, but I mean, like, I think I believe that
Just like good core people, like goddamn, what's the word when you're describing somebody that's like a person of integrity, good,
like wholesome people, like just good old
yeah,
wholesome
but like
people.
like they have morals. They have
Yeah.
like
So
you
yeah.
know,
So I know what you mean, bro. Like when you were kind of raised right when you so look, I don't really want to talk that much about certain things, but could I ask you something, bro? Like growing up, right? When you started having issues with drugs, did you have like did were you ashamed? Like you wouldn't do it around certain people. You didn't tell certain people. You would hide it from certain people. Like you had shame, right, when you were doing it, right? Like in the beginning, kind of, right?
yeah. I think so. There's kind of two elements to that. Yes, but also there's another element to it. So virtuous. Goddamn,
Yeah,
virtuous.
yeah, yeah.
Damn, I couldn't even get the word out. Um,
Allegedly.
yeah, people of virtue. So two things. So when I initially started using,
Yeah.
I kind of went just from like eating painkillers every day, and I had a connect that actually worked at a pharmacy,
Hmm.
and he did the inventory of the pharmacy. So if he got shipments in and he was like, "Hey, these are off, 400 tablets." Okay, no question. They would send them 400 tablets. Like this was like it
Was that
was almost like
expired?
airport security pre 9/11. Like there was like
Yeah.
no no security over this shit, and he would just be like, well, I don't want to say exactly what he did, but he had ways to get stuff, and I was just
Yeah.
getting anything and everything I wanted, just like boom, 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 all day, dirt cheap. And I started eating pills first.
Hmm.
Then when that stopped getting me like well, I went to more powerful, smaller pills. So like I went from like you know um, like Percocets and
So
Vicodin.
did you so you started with what, like Vicodins
Yeah,
or
Percocets, Vicodin, shit like that, and then went from like the fives to the 7.5s to the tens,
Hey,
and
and isn't it
then
funny how we become pharmacists, bro? Like we become legit pharmacists. Like
yeah,
it's so crazy how if we would have taken that time to actually study and become doctors and pharmacists, we probably would have done it, bro, because we could identify any damn pill. And this is
oh yeah,
before you had internet. Like you had to sit in
hmm
your computer and look it up. Like you didn't have a phone, right?
yeah.
And you could spot
Or
everything.
to bring it back, to bring it way back, if anybody out there remembers a site called Irowid,
Yes, that was like my go-to site, bro. Like that was my
bro, me too.
WikiLeaks, like my not my WikiLeaks, but like what's that other shit that everybody
Wikipedia.
use? Yeah, my Wikipedia for drugs.
Yep, yep. That shit had
That's
me
crazy,
tripping
bro.
out, man. I would learn everything I needed to know on Earwig, but
Yeah, bro.
so I would start with that, right? And then of course, like you start learning other shit like, okay, I can't take 15 of those because it'll shut down my liver because each
Yes,
one
like
has 500 milligrams of acetaminophen
so
in it.
that's what I was trying to say. Like we knew, like, hey, I'm not gonna take these many Vicodins because this has ibuprofen. It's gonna fuck up my liver. So what if I take something else? And like we made our research, bro. Like, look, this is I don't think people understand that. I kind of know what I kind look like when I started getting into this drug use. I didn't plan to be an addict. Like I was doing it as an experiment. Like I wanted to kind of like be because I used to listen to like the Doors and like tune in, tune out type of stuff, like read books about acid and all this stuff. And I wanted to experiment with myself, right? I didn't know that it was gonna get to a point where I ended up trying heroin, right? Because I started with opiates and I started with pills here and there, right? But what I started off with was like actual heroin, and I started smoking it before I started shooting it. So first I started smoking it. If I couldn't find heroin or anything, I'll pop like maybe 15 Vicodins, bro. Just bite them and pop them all at once, bro.
Bro, you got to be careful with that, man, because the
Yeah,
acetaminophen and
and
the
and
ibuprofen.
I didn't know, and so that's what I'm trying to get at. That before we were a little bit more conscious, and I think that the way that addiction is, and that's why I want to talk about this. I don't want to glorify it. I want to bring light to it. A lot of these kids nowadays will take anything you give them. They don't even know what the heck. Like you could be lying to them, bro. You could tell them this is like the dopest pill, and it's just a candy, and they'll take it.
But that's
And they're
like
just
the excitement of, you know what I'm
yes,
saying? They're just gassed up off of like
these new drug addicts, bro, and I'm gonna call them new. They have no shame.
no
They
fear.
no fear, no nothing, bro. Like they straight out living that YOLO life, and I think that's the way that the culture is throwing it now, where it's like live
Yeah.
fast, live young, blah blah blah. Nah, bro, because and I'm gonna tell you guys why. Because I think they made it cool when I was growing up. Like we didn't want to do it around certain people. Like I was ashamed, bro. Like I never
Gertrude,
wanted to.
those are the tens, Gertrude.
Yeah, the yellow ones. I
Yeah.
didn't want to come home to my house looking a certain way, bro. I didn't
Yeah.
want to tell the people like, oh, this is that. Like if they would look at me, I'm like, oh, I'm just stoned, right? And then this dude I knew, he would always be like, tell people what you're doing. Like, don't be ashamed. If God knows it, everybody should know it. And I realized that that type of people were the ones that went all out and were worse than me. I mean, there's no worse. You're an addict. You're an addict, but I wouldn't do stuff in front of my family or my mom, bro. Like I'll keep it away from them, right? Um,
Bro, I would do everything I could to separate myself from using near my family, but
mhm.
I would almost always use at home. And I also overdosed one. I'll tell the story too, but I
Yeah,
overdosed. I almost died,
I've
and
never overdosed, bro. Like I don't know if I haven't or I maybe I just passed. I think I remember one time I was foaming from the mouth, but it's because I mixed a bunch of shit. I think they gave me like morphine drip, and then I ended up sniffing somas, and then I ended up popping something else, bro. And I was like foaming from the mouth, bro. Like I woke up and my
that
mouth
shit.
was white. So I don't know if that was an overdose because I woke up, but I like I've been around people overdose and that shit's scary, bro. So what happened?
Hold on. So the 15s are green, the 30s are blue. They do not make the 30s anymore. If you're buying 30s on the street, it
They're
is highly
fake.
likely that they are, especially the M's. I don't know if another manufacturer took them over, like the V's or the like another company, but I'll tell you right now, if you are buying blue oxycodone hydrochloride, acetaminophen free, 30 milligram, you know, Percocets, oxycodone, whatever. They are fake. They're made with fentanyl and other drugs, and a lot of times they're mixing them with benzodiazepine to get more bang out of their buck because they're synergistic. So if you're mixing benzos and painkillers, they duplicate the effects of each other. But real
Yeah.
quick before we get into that, I also want to bring up the fact that, like, people that are like you and I that are in the 2A community, right? Because
Yeah,
it's well known that we own firearms, we build firearms, so I think that's important too. But before kind of venturing into that, so when I went down kind of that path, I kind of brushed over from taking pills orally just to like be well and sometimes get high, right? Sometimes I'd be drinking with them and shit like that. But
yeah.
then I went to the small, more powerful ones like the 15 Roxys, the 30 Roxys, the 2 and 8 milligram Dilaudids. And I even got, to the OCs back then. This was before OCs, the actual Oxycontins.
Was this before they added that filler
Yeah,
that you had to peel?
yeah.
Because then
Well,
they
no, you had
then
to peel it.
when you
You still had to peel it, but this is before they made them truly tamper-proof.
yeah, because before you could dissolve them with water,
Yeah.
and then you had to peel it with like a razor blade.
So what I would do is I would literally just take my fingernail and then I would just peel it off, and it would come off like plastic. It was basically like a cornstarch cover,
Yeah,
and I mean, I knew a lot of people that did crazier things, or they would put it in their mouth. They would suck on get all the color off, because like the 80s were green, the 60s were red, the 40s were shit. What were the 40s like a peach color? Or no, the 20s were a peach color. The 40s were orange. Shit, I
yeah.
don't remember. And then no,
And
the 20s were white, or 10s were white. I
And
don't remember, but it was a
I'll
whole
say
bunch of them.
something real quick, bro. Like somebody said that weed is not addicting, right? Like weed, you don't become an addict to it. I knew people that were stealing their grandmother's cancer medication, so stealing their morphine from their grandma to sell it to buy weed, bro. Like I had people that would be using weed every day, and once they stopped using weed, they would like mentally get sick, like they were not normal. So like
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
that's also like
yeah,
psychological too.
yeah. So I mean, every drug has an effect on your mind, especially if you start at a young age where your mind is not fully developed. Like I'm okay with you experimenting with drugs. Like I used to tell everybody that like, but I think a kid shouldn't try marijuana when he is going through puberty and his mind is still not fully developed. They should wait
Yeah,
till they're 18. Like I think most of the drugs, if you want to try and mess around with, wait till you're 18, till your mind is fully developed, till you kind of have an understanding. Not when you're a kid and you're going through all this type of growth
they
and
never do.
hormone changes. You
They
you don't
never
know.
do, because at that age they're bulletproof, bro. They're like, I'm invincible. It'll never
Yeah,
happen to me, dude. So when I was young, I buried one of my friends when he was 15 years old. He was shot in the chest at a party on accident, right?
yeah,
And I bring this up because of the stream that you did today,
yeah, yeah,
and when you kind of get in the world of like drugs, for an example, you lose a lot of people from overdose and shit like that. Like I said, I myself had an overdose. I almost died, and it was just like by happenstance that I actually lived through it. But
who found you,
so
bro? Like did somebody find you?
uh-uh,
You just kind of woke up, or
I woke up. I'll tell the story in a second, but basically, so when you're at a younger age and you're like, Superman, nothing can hurt me, nothing can, blah blah
yeah,
blah. When you experience something like that, like your friend that you thought was also Superman, that no one could hurt, that no one, just to boom, one day just gone, right?
yeah.
From what was said to be an accidental discharge. I don't. I would tell y'all more, but it would like totally like dox me.
Yeah, don't just
Basically, somebody got shot, and he was 15 years old, and it was terrible. And I lost another friend. Also, he was shot, and almost every single other friend that I grew up with is
mhm.
either dead, in jail, or still using drugs.
Or
I have
homeless, bro. Like
two
straight
friends.
homeless.
Yeah. I have two friends that are clean and not doing drugs and all that, and that's
It's very few, bro. The
yeah,
same with me, especially like I'm still in that environment where I grew up at, right? And I still see these people, bro. And I have friends that sometimes call me and say like, "Oh, come and hang out." And I don't want to hang out because I don't want to put myself in that predicament where I know they're going to be doing stuff and they want me to hang out because I'm the designated driver, right? So when they want to drink or something, they're going to want me to go get it for them and stuff like that. But the thing with me that I realized about my addictions and that it started with alcohol. So I started drinking when I was like probably I'm Mexican, bro, and I know you guys are gonna laugh, but just like the Irish, we were drinking since we were kids,
yeah,
and they were giving it to us as sips at parties so we could dance, and they were laughing at us, and it's bad. I'm not saying it's normal, but it's just part of the culture and part of the way they raised us, right? So it started with alcohol. So if I get a little bit of alcohol in me, that's gonna want me to try something else. And then I'm gonna go from, oh, well, I tried this, let me try that now. So when tomorrow I wake up in the morning, I'm not hangover. And then it goes like that. So
yeah.
I was able to kind of learn what do you call it? Your what do they call it? Your ticks or your
What
when you figure out your triggers, my triggers.
oh,
So I
triggers?
know,
Yeah,
yeah. So I know if I go to somebody's house and they're having alcohol, I'm gonna probably start drinking, and after probably like a six pack, I'm gonna get triggered to take out some snow, and then we're gonna do bumps, right? And then from there, it's gonna go to something else. So I need to I put myself away from certain situations, but I didn't know that when I was younger. When I was younger, I said, ah man, I could do it. I don't need to be away from certain environments. But now I realize that I do. I have to put myself away from certain environments in order for me to be a better person.
yeah. I mean, even just something as simple as like our conversation prior to going live, we were
Yeah.
getting pretty graphic with using drugs,
Yes.
and like
And
I've been clean for like
I got goosebumps, bro. Even
yeah,
just I could close my eyes. I didn't even have to close my eyes, bro. I could picture it like
yeah.
what we were talking about, and I
You
think
become addicted to the actual
it
method of administration. You become
it becomes
addicted
a
to
it
yeah,
becomes a ritual, bro, because they
yeah,
don't teach us any type of rituals, right? And that's why sometimes I say, when you're gonna leave stuff or something, pick up a ritual, pick up something you're gonna do. Like that's why sometimes religion is so important because you learn ritualistic things, right? The way you pray, the way you clean yourself before you pray, stuff like that. It works. And we get addicted to that ritual, to that chase. I think that's what we were talking about, right, Doug?
yeah. Sorry, I was reading the chat real quick. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, Identifying triggers, though, knowing what your triggers are, that's super important. And like you got to know, like I put myself in a bad situation just going to a party one night that I shouldn't have gone to. I've told that story before, but also like you get like you said, kind of incrementally you get worse. You do more drugs, you do whatever, you do the next drug, the harder drug, and it got to a point for me like when I was snorting pills and shit like that, I stopped getting high and I barely stopped getting well, and everyone around me was shooting up. I wasn't. I told myself I would never do that. I didn't want them doing it near me. And then one day, that psychological barrier of me saying I'm never going to do it, I said, fuck it, I'm going to do it. And
Just
that
this
was,
last time, just one last, just this time, just this
yeah,
one
I was like,
one.
I'm just going to try it, right? I want to get my money's worth. That's what I said. And I remember I went and I picked up 180, and I used it was nothing for me to break up an 80 and do it all in one rail, like boom, gone, right?
Yeah.
And I remember when I got that joint, and somebody was probably like, "All right, if you want to do it, we can do it, but just so you know, there's no turning back. No, I'm just gonna do it this once. You will never do it another way." Like straight up, they told me, "Once you do it this way, you will fall in love." And straight up, hand to God, I fell in love. And to this moment, almost 12 years later, November 5th will be 12 years. I'm still in love just thinking of the act when we were talking before
And the thing is, bro, that you know what love is now, right? Because you had a daughter,
yeah.
I'll tell you guys this, and this is my personal opinion, but you don't know what love is, what real love, what true love is, till you have a daughter. When you have that bond with your daughter's gonna love you, look at you like you're the best man in the world. She's gonna believe whatever you tell her, and your daughter, like a boy, is amazing. But I think with boys, we sometimes get jealous of the affection the mother and the son have, and it's normal. You know what I mean? But with daughters, even our wives get jealous. Wasn't your wife jealous of your daughter? She's like, you don't love me the way you love her. I bet you, right? You don't give me the attention.
Not exactly. The thing with my wife is like she would be like super proud. You know what I mean? Like she's from New York. She's
Yeah.
got that like nothing bothers me attitude. You
Oh,
know,
okay.
even if she's like if inside she's tripping out, you know what I mean? Like she on the outside, cool as a fan. I mean, don't get me wrong, she'll trip the fuck out, but she trips the fuck out in like a Long Island, New Yorker type of way, you know?
Oh, okay. Yeah, like, yeah,
Yeah, like she'll be like going in on it, you know?
yeah,
Um,
like, I get you.
but
Like almost Mexican status.
this, yeah, almost. But this
Yeah.
actually, so this is kind of interesting when you mentioned like being like kind of uncomfortable around like using around family and shit like that. I didn't used to be like that. I was way more like, I guess, liberal with my drug usage. One day, like this is when I was doing blues, the Roxy 30s, like every single day. And I'm telling y'all for real, from like 15 to 16, I have never gone more than a full day without like some type of opiate in my system.
Yeah.
It was very bad, and also the access to anything right in the area of like the tri-state area of you got DC, you got Maryland, you got Virginia, all right here.
You
You got the
guys are like
Baltimore
you
border.
guys are like the triangle, like the you know that Asian triangle that used to have all the dope. Like pretty
Yeah,
much you guys became that, like Pennsylvania, all that area. You guys had the best dope.
basically,
We
yeah.
always had the garbage. So just
Which is
imagine.
crazy because y'all got all that water right there. You would think that somebody be bringing something in from over
Yeah,
that way,
but
but
you got to remember, the Europeans control your side. Our side is controlled by the Mexicans and the Colombians. So the Mexicans are not going to do business with the Russians or the Eastern Europeans. They'll rather do business with the Arabs and the Colombians. To be honest,
yeah,
it's weird, but that's I think Mexicans and Afghanistans and Pakistanis have a lot in common, bro.
yeah,
Like they're very similar. It's weird, but they're
that's
very
true.
similar.
That's true. But I was actually like really liberal with my drug usage. So like this is when I was getting like, I'd get like 30 30s, right? Like I was blowing dough like crazy. And those are $1 a milligram back then. Right now,
Yeah,
the fake ones, those are the only ones that are being sold, are more than that. But I was getting them for cheaper than that. But whatever. So one day I took my now wife back then, just my girlfriend, to a work party, and we were going to go into the bar, and I was like, hey, hold on for 1 second. We pulled up, and I pulled out a CD, and y'all, back then we used to listen to CDs. We had CD changers in the car and shit
and
like
that's
that.
how you used to crush your shit up and your
Yep,
CDs.
yep. So I
Yeah.
would take a dollar bill and I would drop 130 in a dollar bill. I would fold it up like an envelope. I would
Mm.
crush that joint and then I would open it up and pour it out there and then just do it like that. And I just cut up a bunch of lines on a CD case and she was like, "Yo, what the fuck are you doing?" And I was like, "What? I told you I was doing, you know, painkillers. I told you I was doing my thing. Like, what's the problem?" And she was like, I'm going. Like, let me know like whenever you want to, like whenever you're done with your little thing, right?" So I was like, "Oh
Yeah.
shit!" I was like I did like all all of it that I can, lick the CD and shit like that. And I
Yeah,
came in there, I
yeah.
was like, bro, like, why are you tripping? I'm just doing. I got this totally under control.
Yeah, this is
Like,
fine, bro. This is fun dark. Like you want
yeah,
fun dark?
it's
Let's get ready.
Friday. You
This is
want fun dark on Friday, right?
you, bro. Trust me, we're gonna go to the bar. We're gonna get free drinks. I'm gonna talk to everybody. Everybody's gonna love me. I'm gonna be the man, right? That's how it feels, bro. And I think that's why we also get addicted to it because we feel we become the person that we've always been, but we're too scared to let it come out. Right? Like we've
Yeah,
always been this people, like the people that me and you are now, they're like talking, hosting, be able to communicate with people. We've always been this. The problem is that we were either too scared or too shy, and we needed a substance. And everybody does. Once you get a little bit of alcohol on you, you become the life of the party, right? And
yeah.
it's because we're too used to this lady once told me, and I didn't understand her, bro. And then once I did ayahuasca, I understand it completely. This lady once told me that you're a good kid. The problem with you is you have this armor on you. And I'm like, I don't have no armor. You know, like you're tripping, bitch. Sorry for my language, but that's what I thought in my head. She was this older hippie lady, and she came up to me and she's like, "You could be a great guy, man. I could help you out. You just need to get rid of that armor." And I didn't understand, bro. When I had ayahuasca, Mother Ayahuasca, God, whoever it was who spoke to me was telling me that I do have an armor. And my armor was that I would put up this persona. I would have to be dressed a certain way. My hair had to be a certain way. My shoes had to be clean. Like, even though I was on dope and probably not showering for a couple days, I was clean, bro. Like, I could pick up any girl. Like, I look good, bro. Like, I took pride on the way I looked and carried myself. But then I realized that that was just a wall that I was putting because I was scared to show who I truly was, you know?
Well, we're all fearful of judgment. You know, that's just
Yeah.
kind of how we are as people. But you know, a lot of times I promised I would tell a story. So
Yeah.
I did get worse, and I did go from painkillers to shooting painkillers, from shooting painkillers to doing heroin, because I would get one 80 milligram oxycontin for $80. I would go to the city and for set in DC,
So
and
each milligram was $1, bro? That's not
yeah,
bad,
it was
bro.
$1 milligram.
So
Shit,
that's
back
why you
then,
were probably on pills for a while before you did the transition, huh? Because
yeah,
you got great deals.
dude, I was in like severe pain. I was like literally like I would shoot an 80. I was actually triple rinsing Roxy's. So I would get 100 units of water. I would put one Roxy down and then I would rinse it, put that gin in, right? Clean the spoon, put a second Roxy in there, use that same water, and then put that in there, suck that thing up, and then clean the spoon, put a third Roxy in there, squirt that same water in there. So I would have 90 milligrams in one shot, and I would
Yeah.
slam that joint. Like, it was getting bad. And
Damn, bro.
I was like an hour or two later, totally sober. And I was like, this is so bad. And my boy was like, yo, like, if you want, we can go to the city and we can get dope right now. So I eventually
For
said yes.
cheap, way cheaper, and the high used to last longer. It had legs.
$75. $75 for a bundle. And they would usually give you 11 or 12 instead
And
of 10.
that bundle used to like, so you would buy that bundle, and if you had homies that were picking up, you pretty much that bundle was free, bro. You would get high
Yeah.
for free. You'll get your money back from the homies,
Yeah.
and it was amazing, right? And that bundle probably would last you what, like in the beginning, bro, like probably what, like 2 days, maybe three
Yeah, in the
days.
beginning it would be 2 3 days because it was so potent, right? I would just shoot one bag at a time, where I used to do like 180 or whatever, or like
Yeah,
330s. One bag would get me good, but it so basically like $75 would give you 10, sometimes 10 to 12 bags. But once you go over the state line, those bags go for $20 out
yeah.
there. So, you know, like you're saying, you're getting high for free. You're not having to chase the dope man and wonder, like, where I was
You're
going.
the dope man, right?
Yeah,
You become the dope man.
yeah. Where I was going in Southeast DC is called Potomac Gardens Housing Projects. It is one of the, well, aside from some places in Baltimore, it is one of the most hood places. Like, if you look up Potomac Gardens on Google Maps, you'll see hand-to-hand drug deals going on in the Google Maps pictures. Like that's how like good that shit is. People would be, it would be
Damn.
like an open air drug market. They would just be standing out front with
Yeah,
ski
like if you
masks.
were a white person in a car, they would all come to your window and fight for the customer,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Yeah, we
yeah,
have an area like that. Actually, a couple blocks from where I live. It's not as bad as it was back in the days, but bro, one time I remember I was with a friend, and my friends thought like, let me go meet my family because a certain a group of people from Mexico, they all live in that area. They're all related and they're all in the dope game, right? And he's all
yeah,
like, I gotta go meet my uncle. He's gonna, he owes me some money. And I'm like, all right, bro. But I said, let's go real quick because I don't like this area, bro. And as soon as we get there, bro, he's parked. He's talking to everybody. He's collecting money, bro. So he was selling them dope, and I was like, bro, what the fuck are you get? Like, he had a ball, bro, and he's like, and I'm like, this white guy comes, bro, and he straight sells to him right away. The white boy, instead of going and parking because it was a shopping center, he just parked right next to us, shoots up, the cop passes, the homie's panicking. I tell the homie, keep talking, bro, keep talking. And luckily, when the cop is passing, he passes us, he sees the white guy shot out, and he stops the white guy. Then he's like, what do I do, bro? I'm like, don't worry, he's with him, pretend you're talking, and then we leave, because
yeah,
if we would have left right away, they would have, how they are. So I
yeah,
mean, it's just like, you guys got to understand how crazy and how set up places are, that sometimes they just want one bust a day, and they'll let you do whatever you want to do, because
yeah.
as long as they get one person a day, they're happy. They say they did their job, and in
I got
reality.
grabbed when I was out there. Actually, funny enough, I got grabbed one day when I was out there,
And do you think
and
it was a setup, like somebody snitched on you, or you think it just happened accidentally? Like somebody
no,
told,
so
huh?
they were watching the area. There was actually, if anybody looks it up, there was a huge bust out there. They got like almost a couple $100,000 in cash. They got like bricks of dope. They got a shitload of guns. They had like dudes in the watchtowers. So they
Hmm.
had like dudes literally watching for police and housing police. And but they were watching the place, and they were grabbing everybody that went in and out. Now they wouldn't grab the locals. The locals would line up at like 4, 5, 6 in the morning and just line up to get their dope, and the police would walk right past them because
Yeah,
they're
they
like,
were,
"There's no
because
way."
they're not gonna pay no bill. They're not gonna pay a ticket. They're not gonna go to court, and they don't care. They're gonna go for the white person that has a car that has out of state plates, because you're gonna pay your
Yeah.
ticket. You're gonna be scared. They know what they're
And
doing,
they're
bro.
trying to
It's
stop
sad.
people from going there. I mean, that's what they said. They're trying to stop people from going
Nah,
there.
they're just trying to make money off of you, out of you already being in a fucked up situation. To be honest,
Yeah.
that's what they're
Well,
trying to do.
so get this. So one day I'm going out there, and nobody is serving. Everybody's like away, which is usually a bad sign. That
Yeah,
mean that means like somebody is out there that I don't see.
but you were sick.
But kids, these kids were out there, and I end up going inside the projects instead of just like coming in and waiting in the first stairwell for the first dude to walk in with a ski mask.
Mhm.
It was crazy, but I end up going all the way in, walking in, and everybody's looking at me like, "Yo, what is this big
Yeah,
ass
like
white
get the fuck,
doing?"
like you're a
Like,
cop, like you're a fucking
oh, they
cop, bro.
all ask if you're the police like right away, and they're like, "You got to tell me if you're the police." I'm like, "Bro,
No,
look
I
at my
don't.
arms, dog. Like,
Yeah,
look at my fucking arms. You think I'm the police?"
yeah.
And I had a couple stories about that. People that thought I was the police, but
Bro, I
I
got my homies thought I was a parole officer certain times because of the way I would dress and look, right?
what?
Yeah. So I went to my homie's house. This is the first time that I'm going, and everybody that goes to that house is tatted up, bald. Like the Mexican style, like like the
Yeah.
South type of gangster, right? And I have long
Hmm.
hair, bro. I have my beard. I have a Hawaiian shirt, bro. And I had this. this necklace, right? So if the necklace was tucked in, it kind of looked like my badge was under it, but it was a necklace, right? So I go and I knock, and all of a sudden the music goes down, and they're like, "Who is it?" I don't know, fool. It's a white boy, and they're like, "What? It looks like a probation officer or a parole officer, homie." And then I'm like, "Bro, it's me." And then the homie's like, "Nah, bro, that's the homie. Let him in." I'm like, "What the fuck?" But it was always weird situations, bro, where people wouldn't talk to me openly till I met him a couple of times because of the way
That's
I look.
crazy. Jeff Cron says, "Isn't Potomac Gardens? Doesn't it butt up against an HOA?" So crazy thing.
What's
You
an
got Potomac
HOA?
Gardens housing projects on one side.
Yeah.
Literally across the street, you have $1 million row houses that are like just a bunch of white people walking their poodles and shit like that. It's
So
crazy,
what
and they
what
don't
divides
bother each
it? Is
other.
it a freeway or a
It's just
lane?
a regular ass street. Now it's a street that takes you to a highway, but it's like it's just a street, and anybody can look it up. I mean, it's a pretty famous like housing project.
Damn,
But
that's
like the
crazy.
crazy thing is like they don't mess with each other at all. The white people come out, they don't get their houses broken into, they don't get messed with. They walk out, they walk their
Because
dogs,
it's
they go to
bad for
work.
business, bro.
Yeah.
That's what people need to understand. So I remember when I would get out, right? Because luckily I think what kept me alive and not really overdosing was that I was always doing time. And when I say I was doing time, like this was like juvenile, like I was incarcerated since I was about like I started getting incarcerated when I was about 14 years old, right? And
Mhm.
that's because I was part of the area that I grew up with. I had to grow with the gang, and if I was making money, I had to either be part of the gang so I wouldn't get taxed, or I was gonna get taxed. Right? It's
Yeah.
politics, and I remember I would get stopped, and I would do like a month, and then it went from 3 months, and then it went for like 5 months, and then six, and then a year, and then 16 months, and stuff like that, right? And I would be clean because it was the juvenile system, right? So I'll be in and out, and I'll be clean. I'll come out really good, and every time I come out, bro, I would go to the hood to make my money, and the hood was tagged up. And the first thing I would tell these guys is like, why are you guys tagging the hood? People know that this is our hood, but when you tag it, you're letting the cops know that there's action going on. I can't make money, and the way you guys are dressed, because sometimes they'll tell me like, bro, why don't you dress like us? And I'm like, bro, look, no disrespect, but I'm making money. Like I was selling and I was making money, and this is all fair game. I've been arrested for this. I did my time, so I could talk about it, right? So
Yeah.
I was selling, bro, and I would dress like this, and the people loved me, bro, because they saw that I was actually selling, but I was like raising my kids. I was being productive, right? And they would tell me, "Why don't you dress like me, bro?" And I was like, "Bro, when the gang unit comes, they chase you guys. They jump out of the car, they chase you guys. They look at me, I wave at them, and I have a bunch of dope in my pocket. Why am I gonna,
Yeah.
like I learned something, bro. Like I studied a lot of history and stuff like that. And I remember I was watching like this Yakuza documentary, and the guy said, "You don't have to show people that you're hard if you're hard, and you have to look like never get tattoos where people could see them, right? Always,
Mhm.
always be. I don't know. Like you always have to be prideful of how you look." And how could I go and have a business, bro, and look like a gang member? They're gonna think I'm going in there to rob them. They don't think I'm gonna go there to cut their grass, and that's not good for
Yeah.
business because the bar wants to cut some grass. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, that's a good point. I mean, I think that's kind of like similar to the way I looked at it was like
Yeah,
the only tattoo that I got, like I got tattoos all over my body, but the only one I got that shows is the one on my wrist. Um, I think I wanted to kind of like preserve like, I didn't want to like advertise that I was living like that kind of life. And I
yeah,
even
like
had that life. Like I always had a good job. I always made good money. I always made, for the most part, good decisions. But when shit when I chose to be, I was a not so good version of myself. You know what I mean? Like I was going around, I was doing bad shit. I probably need a few more years to talk about some of the things that I did to get money and drugs and shit like that. And some really low points that I got to. And
Yeah.
when I finally overdosed, that's when everything kind of changed for me. Well, that's when everything started to change for me, but I didn't learn my lesson yet. When I overdosed, I was getting bags of dope from Potomac Gardens, and
Okay.
they grabbed me out there, and then they released me. I literally talked my way out of getting arrested because I heard over the radio. They searched my whole car. They found nothing. I had the illest stash spot, but
What
I
was
heard
it?
over.
Oh, I think you're lagging. Hold on.
I was telling them, no, I didn't go with my drugs.
You
Oh
you
shit, my
lagged.
bad. So I
So
told
so
them
you
like,
said you had the best
yeah,
stash box, and then they didn't find it, and then you were telling them.
yeah. So basically, they were not going to find it because I had the fucking illest stash spot ever in the car, and I've been searched before several times. No one's ever found anything in that spot, and I've used that same spot in several cars. Um, and also, they grabbed me and my man. They because for me being in Virginia, I was like I had AKs, I had a whole bunch of stuff, and they found like an AK bayonet. They found like knives, and I was like, yeah, what's wrong with that?
Damn,
I was
yeah,
like, that's for my AK.
because you knew the law. See, I would see. I always told everybody, bro, you gotta study the law because this country runs on laws. So if you don't know your laws, you're gonna get fucked with. If you know your laws, you're not. I remember they would always try to search us, right? And they would try to make me step out of the car, but I was in the passenger side. I'm not getting pulled over. The driver's getting pulled over. I don't need to let you search my car, my body. So if I do have something and you search my body, that you can't use it. If he has something in his car, he gave you permission. That's in his car. That's not on
Hmm.
my body. So a lot of the times, bro, I would catch cops. Check. They're like, "Oh, well, we're gonna get your wallet." I'm like, "I don't consent to this search." Well, I gotta take your wallet out to make sure it's a wallet. I'm like, "I don't consent to this search." And you know what he would do? He would take my wallet, put it outside the car, sit me down, and then go back, search the car, grab my wallet, throw it in my car, and open it and start looking through my wallet. And I'm like, "Hey, bro, I know what you're doing. You threw the wallet inside the car so you could say that he gave you probable cause to search the car and that my wallet was in the car, but I'm looking at you throw the wallet into the car, bro."
Yeah.
Look, I'm not gonna say that I was a correct person, but I will say this: these cops will, and not it's not just cops. Anybody. If you don't know your laws, if you don't know your rules, if you don't know how to stand up for yourself, people are gonna walk all over you. And I don't think it was right that the cop, just because we looked like we were doing something bad. I think that time, bro, my fucking friend was dumb and he waved at the cop. So the cop busted a you again and said, "Well, you weighed me down," and he's like, "I was telling you guys bye." I'm like, "You're a fucking retard, bro." Like
Dude,
I was
that's
telling
those are
you,
the kinds of people that get hemmed up like all the
yeah,
fucking
bro.
time, man. All
It's
the
like
time.
I'm telling you bye, like, bro, you're on meth and you're waving at a cop, and the cop's gonna stop you, and you look like you're on meth. He's
Yeah.
not gonna. Like people like, look, isn't it funny that when you do drugs, you choose certain drug, and now you don't fuck with people that do meth, and meth people don't fuck with you because
Yeah.
you're a real drug and you're nasty, but theirs is not a real drug. It's something they do to be productive and watch a lot
Yeah,
of porn.
it's totally separate. Like it's
It's
so now
weird.
there are people that do like speedballs and shit like that. Like
Yes.
I would hate like when I went to go cop something with somebody that did like speedballs, like mixing coke and dope. Like they would go get dope, and then I'd be like, all right, like let's split it, and they'd be like, nah, no, no, we gotta wait. We still gotta go down the street and get something else. I'm like, bro, no, I've been waiting all day for the shit, bro. Break that shit up, like come on. Nah, we gotta wait. We gotta wait, and I end up whatever, doesn't matter. But so basically, to get to the story, here's what happened. So I was getting, usually at least a bundle at a time for myself, just for personal usage,
Yeah.
and each bag was, one of 10, sometimes 12, man, 10 to 12 bags, depending on what I got, who I got it from. And it was called like Last Chance, Obama, North Korea, like Man Down. Oh, that Man Down was fire. But I would do 3 bags at a time, right? So if I got a bundle, I would do a bundle a day, and I would do like 3 shots, three,
Hmm.
6, 9. And then at the very end of the day, before I went to sleep, or end of the night rather, I would do that last little one bag, or maybe have it in the morning or something like that. But doing one bag was like nothing because I was doing three times a day. So went out there, got my bundle, came back up to Virginia, and I sat down and did three. Nothing. Yeah, I mean not nothing, but like I got
You
high.
didn't, yeah, you didn't feel it. You didn't. It probably had
Yeah,
like, cause there was stuff that would take time, and then it would creep up on you, bro. I don't know if you ever
yeah,
had that.
yeah. Mostly raw. Like the raw would not be as much of a rush, but it would creep up on you so hard later. And then so like I mean I felt it and stuff, but I mean like I didn't overdose at that point, right?
Yeah.
So I did the first three, I just got high. Then later on in the day did the second three in one shot, got high.
Hmm.
Then later on did the other three, got high. And then I was like, all right, I'm either gonna do this last one bag or I'm gonna wait to do it in the morning. But when you're a drug addict, you're like,
Nah.
I ain't gonna wait. There ain't
Yeah.
no such thing as waiting. Do everything you can do, right?
Yeah.
So
You become a pig. Like you still, like a marrano. Like
yeah,
you like, yeah,
yeah, like I'm gonna do everything I can right
to
now.
the neck, like to the neck.
Yeah.
It's crazy, bro. Like, and I think, look, like
Well,
I
hold on,
said.
real quick
Oh,
before
sorry, sorry. Yeah, you were talking
no,
about your
you're good.
overdose.
I'm right there. I'm right there. So I prepped this one bag, and I was like, I'm not even gonna feel it, right? I just did 9 bags today. I'm not even gonna feel this one bag. So
Yeah,
I put the one bag in the spoon, and I just think it wasn't cut right. I think whoever was cutting shit just accidentally missed a spot, a
yeah.
chunk, a speck. If it was fentanyl, a particle, like who knows, right? But I did one bag, and when I did it, I was leaning over a desk just like this. This is in my old crib, and this is actually way back when I lived with my parents. And I did the one bag, the one shot, and I literally saw my eyelids just close right in,
Oh, one of those. Yeah.
uncontrollable. I fell, and then I had taken the needle out because I usually would squirt the last little bit in my mouth or on my finger, and then I would rinse it with water afterwards. And then so I took it out, and I literally just saw my eyelids just boom like fall. So I fell with the needle in my hand, and I hit my head on my desk, which was actually a good thing, and I
That
cracked
woke
my
you up.
knuckle.
Yeah.
So no, worse. Oh, well,
What?
better. But so when I started to fall, I hit my head on my desk, and because of that, I fell sideways in the recovery position. So I
Oh,
was
okay.
literally laying sideways, and that's the way that they lay you down to breathe if you're
Yeah,
overdosing.
yeah. So you won't choke on your own vomit or anything like that.
Correct.
So you're like
Now,
in the fetal position, pretty much. Like, but
exactly, exactly.
yeah,
Now, when I fell with my whole body weight on the needle, so it stabbed in my stomach.
bro. I don't know. Like so I guess darkest pause right now, but I've had people that
Keeps
like,
cutting
I
out,
think
man.
my, yeah, I cut out.
My bad. Basically, I fell with like my whole body weight on the
Yeah.
needle into my stomach, and it was pretty bad. But like 6 hours later, I woke up in like the middle of the night, and I just had a pounding headache. I was dizzy. I was totally out of it, and I just started playing Call of Duty. Like it was like
Bro,
nothing
so
happened.
so 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 now that you're talking about it, I have overdosed. Like, now that you're saying how it happened, right? I remember I was messing with this chick from Algeria, right? And she was like a MILF, right? And she was getting a lot of like Xanax and different type of pills, right? So she would all when we and her would meet up, bro, she would always hook me up, right? So I think that time I had just done something, right? And she gave me a bar, and we just went straight to business, right?
Hmm.
And once I finished, bro, I'm like, damn, the bar hasn't even hit me. Like, what the hell, bro? Right? So then she drops me off. I go back inside my place, and I had this little like studio right by myself. I go inside
Hmm.
the studio, and I still had dope, right? So I'm like, I'm gonna do one more shot before I go to bed. I'm gonna smoke a cigarette and then go to bed. And I go in the bathroom, bro. I wake up at 6 in the morning, bro, to my phone ringing because I had to be at work in 30 minutes. And it was like six something, and I always got to work early. So when they saw that I wasn't at work, they started calling me like, "Hey, bro, are you gonna come or what?" I woke up, bro. My pants were down. I guess I sat on the toilet. I was taking a shit. I was gonna hit myself, and I guess I hit myself, but I fell down. The needle's on the floor. There's blood everywhere, bro. And I just wake up,
Yeah.
try to see if I still have anything left to get high again, and go to
Yeah.
work. And that and we don't even like, bro, like we don't even realize it. Like, what if I would have never woken up? You know how long it would
Yeah.
have taken somebody to find me by myself in that bathroom?
That's how most of our friends that we've lost. It was just like that. They just happen to never wake up again. A
Yeah,
lot of people think that when you overdose, that it's the drug that kills you, and that's not necessarily true. It's the
asphyxiation,
yes,
right?
it's the restriction of airway. You asphyxiate, and
And
whether
I,
that's on puke or just your respirations get so low that you stop
breathing.
breathing, and then
Yeah,
your organs don't get oxygen, and you literally just die.
yeah,
Like if I had
and
fallen on my back, I would have been donezo.
yeah, bro. Like, so I had a friend, and he would always do stuff, right? But the problem with him is that he had this girl, and that girl used to like mixing pills. So he did his thing, bro. He went with the girl. He popped some pills and had a beer, bro. He always used to drink Bud Ice all the time, bro. So he had his Bud Ice, and I guess he popped some sands, and he died, bro. Like, and the fucked up
Yeah,
part, bro, is that the girl he was with recorded him like dying, bro. Like when we went to his funeral, she showed us, like, look, this is what happened, and we were like, why weren't you trying to like turn him around? Why didn't you call somebody, right? And the sad thing is, and this is sad, and this is when I realized how bad it is being an addict if you're not around the correct people. One of my
hmm
friends ODs on me, right? I hear him slap. Bah! I run in. I can't open the door. The door's locked. I get up. His dad is like there, but his dad is sick, and his dad's looking at me like with eyes like that. There's a knife on top, so I could use the knife to pry the door open. So I pry the door open. He's on the floor, bro. He's a big dude, bro. He's probably like 6'3". I'm 5'9". This dude is 6'3". He's pretty big, and I'm trying to pick him up, bro. I remember that day I had asked him if he had fentanyl, and he told me where the fentanyl was, bro. So I was like, okay, if I can't wake this man up, I'm gonna use the fentanyl. I get him, I turn him to the side, I start smacking him in the back, bro, smacking him in the back, smacking his face,
You
bro.
mean
I
the not fentanyl? You mean the naloxone?
Narcan. Sorry.
Narcan.
Yeah, yeah. So then he wakes up. He wakes up. He's like, "What happened, bro?" I'm like, "Bro, you passed out." This homie wakes up and he's like, there's a meth pipe right there. I just need a little bit of meth." I'm like, "What the fuck, bro? Like you just OD'd. Now you want to hit the pookie? Like, nah, bro, you're not. We're gonna get up. We're gonna
Yeah,
go eat. Like, you, nah, bro. Like, you can't."
yeah.
You know what he told me after we finished eating, bro? He told
Mm,
me that if it wouldn't have not me there, he would have died. And he said if it would have been somebody else, they would have gone on his pockets because this dude used to sell slang, bro. So he said they would have gone in his pockets, took the dope, and took his money and left them there on the floor. And I was
yeah,
like, nah, bro, nah. And you know why I always did that, bro? Because I said if one day this happens to me, hopefully somebody does that to me, so hopefully I don't get
mm,
left on the floor, or in an alley, bro.
yeah,
And the fucked up part was that when my son overdosed, bro, my son overdosed in an alley by himself. Nobody was there to find them till the worker came out and threw the trash and saw my son on the floor dead, bro, because he took Xanax
mm,
that was cut with fentanyl, bro. So this is
mm,
why this is why I'm trying to talk to you guys. Like, I knew that my son was going through shit. I was telling his mom, like, as an ex addict, this boy right here, he's bad. So I used to tell him, come to my house, bro. he would come to my house and he started acting weird, and I would get pissed, bro. But at the same time, I was like, I'd rather have you here in the house, but relax. Like you know what? I got to the point that I told him, I looked at him and I realized I was his age, and no matter what people told me, I wasn't gonna stop getting high, bro. And when I saw my son that way, like he was barred out, bro. And the thing is that the doctors gave him the bars. Once I told my wife that he was misusing the bars, we went to the doctors and we talked to the doctors, and the doctors started to give him less.
Yeah.
So my wife was controlling his dose. So I guess he starts feeling weird and goes and buys a bar, because what my wife was giving him was, he wasn't liking it, right? He
Yeah.
wasn't feeling right. He wanted to feel how he was used to feeling,
And
and he
benzo withdrawal is a
it's the
terrible
worst.
withdrawal.
Benzo withdrawal and alcohol withdrawal are the worst. You could die.
They're
Like if you get
actually
a
the
yeah,
only two that you can actually
you
die
could
from.
die.
The only two withdrawal with substances that
Yeah.
the withdrawals can actually kill you. I actually watched a dude literally die from alcohol withdrawal and seizures. I'm so sorry that happened. I mean
Nah, bro, but look,
that's some
look. People, for a while I was like, why is it happening to me, right? Like, why did it happen to me, and why couldn't I do nothing to stop my son? But I did do something, because when my son would come here like that, I told him, hey bro, you learn to be a man. If you're gonna do your business, make sure you do it right. Yeah, and some of you
that's
guys might say, that that's not the best fatherly advice, but I know somebody, when they're like this far gone, they're not, no matter what you do, they're not gonna listen. So at least my son had a spot where he would come here, and I would stay up all night, bro, making sure he was breathing, bro, taking care of him, bro. Um,
yeah.
because he was that far in already, and I knew it, and it hurt. But the more I think about it, bro, now that my son passed away, now I'm able to relate with other people and tell them, look, I went through this. I lost a son to this. I understand what you're going through, and hopefully I'm able to help somebody else now. At the same time, my son was always on borrowed time. If I really think about it, when my son was born, my wife was arrested, right? She had probation. She had my son in shackles. So my son,
Yeah.
when my wife went into labor, she was at juvenile hall, and she kept telling the staff like, "Hey, my water broke," and they kept ignoring her. So by the time they took her to the hospital, my son had already swallowed the fluid in, and one of his lungs was bad. So he had a fallen lung or something. So
Like a
they did
collapse
whatever they
lung.
yeah, so they did whatever they could to save him, and my son was in ICU for 2 weeks, bro. Like when I went to see my son, I remember it kind of got me mad, because I went to see my son and I'm holding my son for the first time ever, and he has all these tubes in him. He's little, and I'm shaking. And my wife's mom tells my wife, "You think he's gonna be a good dad if he can't even hold his son without shaking?" Like I'm shaking because I'm looking at my son with all these tubes, almost about to die. But I proved it wrong, bro. Like I know, like deep inside of me, I know I was a good dad, and everybody's told me that has been around me, I was a good dad. Whatever happened after I divorced my wife, it happened because my wife was too scared, or she thought that I was gonna throw it in her face and say like, "Yo, we've been divorced for like less than 2 years, and my son is, and this is happening." But I wasn't gonna judge her. But she in her
Yeah.
head thought I was, and that's why sometimes I tell you it's good to have an open. No matter how much you guys hate each other, if you guys have kids, always try to have an open connection where you guys could talk about the kids, no matter
Yeah.
what. Because sometimes what happens is she hates you, and she doesn't even. If you call for the kids, she thinks you're calling for her, but you're
Right.
not. You're calling to check on the kids, and I think sometimes we need to be men and women and understand that we had kids together. It didn't work out, but we still need to have communication.
I think a lot of times, like the reason that we react like that is because we ego and pride are a motherfucker, right?
Yeah,
So
bro.
from our perspective, everything is about us. Everything is a projection on us. And if somebody says or does something, we're assuming what their intent is. So you may have said or done something that made her think or feel like you're casting judgment on her. But I could tell just by, getting to know you over the past little bit that you were a great father. I could tell
Nah,
that you care about people, you
look,
know.
bro, and I think, and the thing is that I think like there was a couple of times that I would call her and tell her like, yo, like I love you, and forgive me for whatever I put her through, right? But I was doing it because I needed to do it so I could feel better about myself and be able to sleep, right?
Yeah,
And she would take it as I still loved her, and would call my mom the next day and be like, your son still loves me. He called me and told me he loved me. And I'm like, bro, I'm telling you that I love you for who you are and for giving me kids. I'm not
yeah,
telling you I'm in love with you. But at the end of the day, bro, I think and this has to do like what I was saying. My son was already in borrowed time, bro. Who am I to question God? If a lot of these prophets in the Bible lost their sons, right? Who am I to question why God took away my son? Because now that I think about it, he might have already been in borrowed time, and these 15 years I spent with my son were more than enough. You know what I mean? But sometimes we don't look at it. Like I remember my daughter was telling me, like, Dad, why do we lose people we love? Why do we lose people that are good people, that have a good heart? And I told her, because if we lost somebody that we didn't care about, or we lost somebody that didn't matter to us, was that going to change us? Were we going to change because we lost somebody that didn't matter to us? But now us losing somebody close, that's going to make a difference in our lives, right? And that might be the push we need to be better men or become a better person. And that's why I push a lot of my mushrooms and ayahuasca and my mescaline, because when I had my divorce, I took ayahuasca. Ayahuasca changed my life. It didn't stop my addictions from one day to another, but it did make me look at life a different way. It made me fall in love with living in the moment and living in the now, not worrying about tomorrow, not worrying about the past, but worrying about the experience me and you are having right now, Dark, where we're talking to the people that are watching us, and hopefully we're helping them some way, and hopefully this is actually being used for some good, right? Like they're being like, damn, I thought I went through shit. We all going through shit, and they're sitting here talking to us, and that's how I want you guys to take it. But that's why I push psychedelics a lot, because psychedelics have changed me, and that's what has helped me get off of methadone. Like I was telling Dark, I know I have never said it out loud, but I would always give you guys hints and talk about certain things with Dark when I was at his show. But I was on methadone. I was at 100 milligrams of methadone for about 5 years, and methadone really messed up my divorce, to be honest, because I was at 100 milligrams. I would get home clean, and after that I would not out. I didn't have no emotions, I didn't have no feelings. I was a robot, bro. Yes, I wasn't out in the streets getting high and wrecking my house and this and that, but I didn't have no emotions, bro. I was numb. I didn't pay attention to my wife. I thought that I had been a fucked up husband, so I was letting her do her thing. And you never let a woman do her thing, because when a woman starts doing her thing by herself, she thinks you lost, as a man, you lost interest in her. But it's not
yeah,
that I lost interest in her, is that I was trying to have her be like, hey man, maybe I was too controlling. Maybe she needs a little bit of time to herself. Well, she got
yeah.
her time to herself, and she found another fool that gave her time, because the bar was on methadone. um, but
Man, I'll tell you
but
that,
that helped me.
that's really similar to kind of where I'm at for real. I mean, I've been honest and I told people that right now, I'm going through a separation right now, and it's one of the most difficult things I've gone through in my life. Uh, a heroin addict, that's obviously I said I'm a drug addict. I'm not. I used to be an ex addict. No, I am a drug addict who just happens to be clean for
Today,
over 11 and a half years. Yeah,
for
almost 12
today.
years. Yeah, yep. And I'll tell you that yes, it is a lot better. Like my relationship would have been over in a month as opposed to 13 years, if I didn't get clean, stop using heroin. And I never would have had my daughter. I never I mean, it would have changed everything. But the drugs that I was on to, you know, become normal, right? To not need, these hard drugs anymore, were so strong. Like I got on Suboxone initially, and it was a lifesaver, but I didn't realize that I was allergic to naloxone, so or either naloxone or something in
So
another.
would you feel like withdrawals and stuff like that, like really bad, or
Not
what would
not
it do?
like that. It was these really weird things. I would get these hives all over my skin, my
Yeah.
chest, and my arms, and my stomach, and even up to my neck. And I would get these crazy, disgusting growths under my tongue. They would almost be like warts under my tongue. It was
Yeah.
so disgusting, bro. And I would get these things called brain zaps. So if naloxone is supposed to be inactive, it's supposed to be dead when it hits saliva. So you're not supposed to feel anything from the naloxone, but that's actually not always the case, right? Because some of it goes into your bloodstream, some of it gets swallowed, some of it, like when I take subs, I would leave it in there for 30 to 60 minutes. And a lot of people can't do that because it just dissolves like that. But I would
Hmm.
tuck it way back there, and I would let it sit for 30 to
Oh,
60
so it
minutes.
dissolves slowly, right?
Yeah, yeah. And I would get all of it, right? And I would get these things called brain zaps, where, I mean, it's exactly what it sounds like. I'll just be like laying in bed, and out of
Mhm.
nowhere, just like a bzz, like this, like rush of electricity surging through my brain, and I couldn't sleep. It was fucking me all up, man. And I eventually went to my doctor, and I was like, bro, this has been a godsend for me. I've been on it for a year, but like look at my chest. And he was like, bro, like those are hives. I didn't even know what they were. I
Yeah.
thought I had skin conditions. And um and I showed him under so I went to the dentist first. The dentist told me, the dentist I went to, God rest his soul, was on Suboxone
Damn. So he knew what was up, kind of. What?
right away. I was like, I'm on a what's the term, the method of administration for putting it under your tongue, a sub damn, I'm tripping. I was like, I'm on a medication that is
Like a film, like a strip, right?
what the fuck? Yeah, what is it called? The
I don't even
whatever
know.
that you put under your tongue. And right away he was like, "Is it Suboxone?" I was like, "Yeah." And this is somebody I grew up with. And he was like, "I'll tell you what it is right now. It's the naloxone. You're not hydrating enough, and blah blah blah, this and that. Sublingual. Thank you, sublingual." Um, and
Yeah, that's what I was
so
looking for.
I ended up going to my doctor, and I was like, "Yo, look under my tongue, look at my chest. I'm getting these
Yeah.
brain zaps. I'm getting like weird issues with my heart." And he was like, "Let me prescribe you Subutex, which is the same thing, but it's just buprenorphine, right? No other shit or like nothing else in it, no flavoring, no nothing, just buprenorphine, bro." That like moment, the first time it like kicked in, I was like, "Whoa." Totally clear, no bullshit. My skin was all clearing up. The freaking like nasty growths under my tongue went
Yeah.
away. No more brain zaps. I think I've had like one in the past like
Yeah.
9, 10 years. It was crazy. So it
Nah,
changed
bro.
everything.
It
But
it does. It does change
I
everything.
I became a fucking zombie because I was on, subs and some type of anti-anxiety medication of some sort, right? I was on bars for a while, then I was switched to Klonopin, then I was switched to, all sorts of shit. And I didn't even necessarily deal with as much anxiety, but I was already on benzos for years.
Yeah.
So they can't just take me off of it. So
Nah.
I was this just emotionless
Yeah.
fucking
Person. Yeah.
asshole.
Don't
You
even want
know?
to have sex, bro. Like don't like you don't like to be honest.
Oh, I wanted
If
to
you
fuck.
Bro, I don't know, but like with me, bro, I wouldn't, bro. Like it would get to a point where, like, if I was on heroin, bro, I could fuck for hours, bro. But once the methadone came in, I didn't want to have sex, bro. Uh, it got to a point where my methadone, if it was too high, I gained a lot of weight. I wouldn't even eat, bro, and I had trouble gaining weight. It slowed down my metabolism. Once Now, I'm not saying methadone is bad, but I'll tell you this: methadone is the worst withdrawals you're ever gonna have because it
Yeah.
goes in your system for days. It usually lasts 3 days, which is 70
Hmm.
something hours, right? But if you're taking those 3 days, so that's adding 3 days, 3 days, 3 days, 3 days. If you've been taking this shit for 5 years, like,
Yeah.
it's bad. It's in your bones, like it's
It is
everywhere.
the hardest drug to
Hmm.
get off of,
So
hands
if you
down.
if
You can feel every milligram.
and I know people, bro, that were using the methadone just to get high. They were like
Yeah.
at 120, 150 milligrams. That's borderline crazy. If you're
Yeah.
like, because I was at 100, and I'm telling you, I was high as fuck. Like, if I got home and I sat down when that dose hit, I was out. Like, I had
Yeah.
to be up, and I had to be cleaning and doing work. Even when I would work, bro, I was ashamed because I'd be sweating, and everybody be like, "You sweat a lot, huh?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that's a medication that I'm taking, blah
Yeah.
blah blah, for my knee. The one of the effects is it makes you sweat a lot." Right, and you got to find ways because you're ashamed, and people are not going to understand what you're going through,
Do
and
you
it's sad.
know what one of the number one causes for someone to, and this is like years and years and years, decades of work from psychologists, psychiatrists, colleges, and all this shit. The number one most reported reason for intravenous use of heroin,
What?
it's one word, 5 letters. You just said it.
That you felt the shame?
Shame.
Yeah.
Almost every single person that is reported to use heroin intravenously said that almost all of it, once they actually spoke to somebody about it, the root of it was shame. And I always thought I just wanted to get high, right? I just liked opiates. I loved opiates, still do. Unfortunately, like psychologically, I do. I don't use, right? But one day I was telling somebody, like, yo, this is how far my addiction has gone. And he was like, "Bro, what happened to you that fucked you up so much that made you want to shoot drugs?"
Hmm.
And I never looked at it like that because I never looked at myself as like a person that went through trauma. I never looked at myself like the first time somebody mentioned PTSD to me, I was like, I'm not a fucking veteran. Like, what the fuck
Yeah.
are you talking about? You
Yeah, I'm
know?
not crazy.
Yeah, like,
It's sad, but it's true. Like, you look at it like, I'm not fucking crazy, but you do. Like, I had PTSD and I didn't even realize it, bro. Like, I had been, like, if you guys think about it, I had been in a box, right? Like I told you guys, I had been incarcerated for a long, like, since I was probably like 15, all the way till I was probably like, the last time I was in, I was probably 26, right? And that was the last time I ever went in. And and I was always in a cell by myself. So I'm very territorial. Like, I like my space. And I would go to the mall, bro. I would hyperventilate, bro. I would start tripping. Like, I thought like somebody was gonna come up and stab me. There was too many people around. But once I got high, I didn't have that feeling. And I didn't know, and I was medicating to not feel certain things, bro.
you know why? Because when you're sober, it's everything is about you. Everything is inward.
Yeah.
When you're high, everything is outward. You're no longer focusing on yourself and how you feel and any of that. Everything is outward. That's why, like you said, you could sell ice to an Eskimo, right? It's
Yeah.
because you are only focusing on that person, their needs, what questions you're asking them, so you can walk them a certain direction. Like you master manipulation of people. You master like
You
the way
master
you,
how to read people, how to read situations. You're perfect
yeah.
at reading situations. You know when to laugh. Like, you like, I got to a point where I knew how to control my laugh. till somebody told me, bro, why do you laugh so often? And I was laughing so often, so because this was a serious person, so I was trying to break the ice with him, and I kept laughing, and it worked. But then he picked up to
Yeah.
it, and now, like, but it's true. Like you become, you don't, you become somebody else.
You almost become like a human lie detector, too.
Yeah, you do.
Oh, I'll give you a perfect example. All right. So, dude, I mentioned when we were kids, he was 15 years old. He got shot and killed. And 2 weeks prior to that, I was in a situation where yeah, fuck it. So I was in a situation where, back in the day when somebody was like, yo, we're about to go wreck. We need you to roll with us. If it
Yeah.
was your roll dog, you'll go,
Yeah,
right?
there's certain people that that's no question. You're gonna go. You're not gonna
Yep.
think about it twice till
It's
you're
like that
there, and
movie.
you're like, yeah,
Yeah, you're like, man, I should have thought twice about this. It's like
yes,
that movie, The Town, right? He's like, whose car are we taking? Right? It's like that. No question, how we getting there, right?
yeah,
And my boy hit me up, and it was like my roll dog, and he was like,
yeah,
"Yo, I need you to roll with me. We're going to wreck right now." And I was like, "All right, fuck it, let's go." And we used to square up, like no, it was no big deal to get in a fist fight.
yeah, yeah,
So
for sure.
when he called me, I was like, "Yeah, no doubt. Tell me where." And we met up at the basketball court that was like one neighborhood over, and we kind of had like a conversation. He was like, "It might get like dicey."
Dicey.
And I
Yeah,
was like, well, I got a stash spot. I was like, I got my gun with me. So fuck it. If it gets really dicey, I'll just let off a round, scare everybody off, whatever. And it's wintertime. The street into the neighborhood goes like down like a big ass hill, right? I'm in a fucking 4-door Camry at the time, and those things suck dick in the snow, especially if you don't take care of them and take care of the tires and shit like that.
yeah,
So we go down to where we're supposed to get in a fight. We go around to the cul-de-sac, two cars full of people. We turn around, nobody's there, right?
mhm.
As we start to go back up the icy ass hill that we just came down, all these people started coming out from in between houses carrying bats, rebar, poles, crowbars, and I
And
was
your
like,
car is like the little engine that could. You're like, come on,
dude,
come.
it would barely go up. I was having to like burn out and like just very slowly go up the hill. And as soon as we rolled up, it was like, all right, this is a bad move. I mean, if you choose that time to get out of the car, you're going to get rushed. They'll kick. What I would do is kick the car door in on you and then beat the dog shit out of you. So I was like, all right, I can't really get out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So basically, we're like rolling through, and I got my
Somebody said, "Don't get the goose down NFL jacket with the Glocky in it."
my bad. All
Bro.
right. So anyway, so I got the pit bull in the car. I got 3 dudes with me. I got the hammer in there, and we're like about to get shit, popping. And they all basically surround us, and one keeps trying to get like close to my car, right? So I probably shouldn't have, but this is when I was a kid. I was under
Yeah.
20 years old, and I drew my shit and I racked it back and I held it out the window, and I was like, "All y'all back the fuck up! Everybody back the fuck up except one kid." Okay,
Oh fuck.
and the the thing that I remember him saying that impacted me the most, two things: one, what he said; two, his face and his body
Yeah.
language when he said it.
Yeah, like he was dead serious, bro.
Dead ass. He didn't give a fuck that I was pointing a gun directly at him. It was a little 1911, and pointed the gun right at him, and I was like, "Back the fuck up right now," because we couldn't get away, right?
Yeah.
And or we were getting away rather slowly. And he was like, "You're lucky I don't have my gun with me, because I would fucking kill you." And
Yeah,
he said
bro.
it
Like,
just like that. Well, I looked at him dead in his face, and I saw that. I saw the way he said it, his eyes, his face, and all that. And when we finally got up the hill and got away without one bad thing happening, just out of like, I don't know, God something, my boy that was with me was like, man, they were all bitches, like whatever. I was like,
And you're
bro, did
like,
you not
nah,
just see
bro,
what happened? Like,
nah.
we just totally got like we lost the upper hand the second we fucking drove in there,
Yeah,
But I was
we
like,
were
that dude,
ambushed, homie. We were ambushed.
yeah, we thought
We
we had
got
shit.
set up, bro.
Yep. And I was like, but that dude was dead ass fucking serious.
Yeah, bro.
Like that dude is going to kill somebody. Two
Yeah,
weeks
bro.
later, he shot and killed my friend.
Fuck,
Two
bro.
weeks later.
It happens, bro. Like you gotta understand that there's some people that live this certain lifestyle, and it's no joke. We had one guy like that, bro, and he went out the way he said he was gonna go out, bro, and he got murdered by the cops. Like because he was to the point where he was pissing everybody off. That the only way he was gonna get stopped was by getting murdered by the cops, and even the homies were like he had it coming. But there's people out there like you really sometimes think like, bro, I was in certain situations, bro, that I didn't even know if I was gonna make it home, bro. And I'm not that tough to be honest. You know what I mean? Like I get down. Like if have to fight, I'm gonna fight. But I'm not like super carteled out, bro. Like some people that I was around with, and I was like, what the fuck was I doing? Like how was I putting myself in these situations, bro?
Yeah.
Bro, and if it gets sometimes to like 10:30 now, bro, I get tired. I want to go to sleep, bro. My legs hurt after I walk a couple hours a day now, bro. Like I,
Hmm.
I don't know what the hell I was doing back then. I mean, I know it was heroin, but at the same time, like
Well,
the
it's
shit we,
also
yeah,
you're getting a little bit older. I'm getting a little bit older. I'm not in the best shape. You know what I'm saying? Like when I throw on my gear and go train and shit, I'm like, woo, like bro, I need to lose some motherfucking weight, and I am.
for real.
I'm starting to lose a little bit of weight. I'm starting to get. I said a few weeks ago. I said I'm going to take my physical health more seriously, my psychological health more seriously, and also training more seriously. And I have access to uh, a very very good training facility, and
Yeah,
it's
take
not the best.
advantage of
It's
that, bro.
indoors, but
Like for
here's the one thing I wanted to bring up, and I'm sorry that I kind of
yeah,
got scattered, but
go ahead.
basically it's this. So here I am, right? I'm a dude that had an issue with substance abuse, right? I'm a dude that showed in the past, as a young adult, that I had a bad relationship with substances, but I had an unhealthy relationship with firearms as a kid too. I was carrying guns when I was 15, 16 years old, and
Yeah,
I'm not bragging. I'm not saying like, ooh, look at me. It was stupid as shit to
yeah.
live that life, and especially when I'm not like growing up in the hood. I wasn't in like
Yeah,
the
like
ghetto.
you like yeah, like people need to understand. Like, okay, the way I grew up, I was lucky and fortunate. I mean, I grew up in the hood, but I didn't grow up like half of my like more than half of the people I know. Like, I had my own room, I had internet, I had a computer before a lot of motherfuckers had a computer. Like, I would travel every year. Like every year we would travel. Half of these motherfuckers that I know have never left Santa Ana. Like they never will leave. And if you take them somewhere, they don't know how to act. And like
Yeah,
but I wasn't right. It was just that I was always like I always had something to prove because of the way I looked, and it sucks, right? People say, well, like that shouldn't happen. It does because I was light skinned, because I didn't look Mexican enough. I had to always end up proving myself and smacking people around so they could take me serious. And,
yeah.
and that shit's crazy, bro. I didn't want to do that, but
But that's
it's
so like misplaced. Like it's
it's weird.
misplaced. Like we want this outcome, so we're gonna do all this shit to hopefully get to here, which is
Yeah,
a completely different like journey. Like I learned, despite from me having a show that, yeah, I know. Typically, we're talking about guns and building guns and freedom and liberty and all that shit, and all that's extremely important. That's why we're having this conversation, right? Like although it's a little bit disjointed and shit, like it's something that we wanted to talk about. And you know, for a God given right, for me to have a right that is given to me by my God, whose place is it for them to say that because I had a bad relationship with substances in the past, or because I had a bad relationship with firearms in the past, or because I had a bad relationship or have a bad relationship with medications or whatever, that I'm not allowed to, fulfill my right that was given to me by my God, that is supposed to be guaranteed to me by the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the state of Virginia, that is guaranteed to me. And this is why, like, felons should own guns. There should be no separation of felons and firearms unless it is during the time that they are in jail. Once they get released from
Yeah,
jail, they're back in the
facts.
public. They should be
Exactly.
reintroduced to their property to include anything like firearms as well.
No,
You
for
know?
real, bro. And like I said, like I'm one of the lucky ones, bro. That when I got my charges, right after I got out, California had a recession, and a lot of these weed charges got turned into misdemeanors. So my felonies became misdemeanors, and that's how I was able to still have a firearm. If not, I would have been
Nice.
screwed, right? And that's not going to stop me from carrying a firearm, allegedly, right? But I'm not going to break any
Allegedly.
rules. But at the same time, we are these. I always like to tell people we all deserve second chances, bro. Even three
Yeah.
chances at max. Like I tell people, I'll treat you like baseball. I'll give you three strikes, then you're out, bro. The
Yeah.
first strike, I'm gonna treat you the same. The second, I'm gonna start watching how I treat you, and the last strike, you're really gonna have to prove yourself because I'm really not fucking with you like I was. But still,
Yeah.
I'll give you those three tries. If you do me dirty, you did me dirty. But you know what? After that third try, I'm not messing with you. And to me, I love being alone. Like I told you guys, I'm outgoing, but I love my peace. And somebody was talking about kratom or kratom. I've
Yeah.
tried it. I've tried it. It works. The problem is that then what happens if you don't know how to do it correctly? You're getting cheap stuff from smoke shops. You need to make sure you get a somebody that's giving you the correct stuff. But also sometimes what happens is you become addicted to the kratom, and you do get withdrawals from it. Like people don't understand that you get withdrawals from kratom. Like that's why
Yeah. I've
it's
heard that.
illegal in Indonesia and Singapore. Like if you get caught with kratom in Singapore, you're gonna go to jail for life.
Yeah. I've,
Like,
I've heard about that shit. And
but it works. Like because I remember once I went to San Francisco and I had finished everything that I took, and I went and I survived off of that. I'll tell you this: as soon as I landed in my city, I called the Connect up. But I lasted about 2 days, 3 days without using anything but the kratom, bro. But you do feel it. Like you feel like you are gonna feel uneasy and stuff like that. But it works. But the same thing, then you become addicted to it. Like to be honest, the only thing that's helped me really try to quit and get off of all this stuff, because the methadone worked for a lot of times. I was able to be normal, but I was a zombie. And once I got to about maybe taking 30 milligrams, I was normal, bro. I lost weight. I was better. But then the problem with the methadone is that the way that they give it is that you have to go to the clinic every day, or if you
yeah.
get take homes, so you're still stuck to a place, so you can't really go out on trips. You
You
can
still,
you,
that's still
you're
the dope,
still,
man.
yeah, you're still it's like the connect. You have to go make a
Hmm.
line, wait for them to serve you. People are getting mad, and you're like looking at this, and I'm like, bro, I used to wait for the connect like 8 hours sometimes
Yeah.
and never
Yeah.
complain. And you're
I
waiting,
lost jobs
right?
waiting for the connect,
Yeah,
you know?
bro.
Actually,
I,
it's not true. I never did. I always
no,
talked my way
yeah.
out of stuff.
I never lost a job, but I'll tell you this: I would my lunchtime. I never had lunch. I would drive all the way to my connect, pick
Yep.
up, and go back to work.
Same
Um,
shit. Same shit. I would do the same shit. And
but
when I was late, I'd be
yeah,
like, "Oh my goodness, you'll never believe what happened."
yeah.
And
I would always had a story, bro. Like it always was something like, oh, there was a
and
crash on the freeway.
and I was always the fucking best at. And I'm not trying to say this to be like, "Oh, I'm cocky," whatever. I'm
Yeah,
saying I would always make extra effort to be the best at everything that I did. So if they
yeah,
wanted
bro.
me on the phones, I would write the scripts. If they wanted me, calling clients, I would call the entire database. If they
Yeah,
wanted me training other people, I would write a whole training curriculum. I always was like coming from the perspective like this, like so number one, the ultimate freedom is running your own business, running your own homestead. Like that's everything in the world. Like you get whatever you want, your own, like 100% controlled by you, your ability to create income for your family and create livelihood for you and your family. That is that is freedom, right? Of course, in this world that we're living in right now, you still have tax, you still have all that bullshit, but you're not under the nose of an employer. You're not, getting hired or fired based on someone's perception of you versus your actual performance. So to me, that's the ultimate freedom. So, that's why I'm doing some of the things that I'm doing right now.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, and Bob, thank you. I actually just recently got this like mesh network stuff coming my way. So I appreciate it, but I'm good. Thank you. But I guess my point is like, regardless of the things that we've done in the past, no one, absolutely no one in the world has the right to say that because of mistakes that you've made, you were not allowed to exercise the right that was given to you by God, that is supposed to be guaranteed to you by the Constitution of the United States and the state that you live in. That is fucking wrong. It is immoral. It is illegal. And I won't do it. Even if I was a felon, I would be rocking the same way.
Yeah,
I would not stop building. I would not stop. I would proliferate the signal exactly the same. Now I'm not a felon, and anything I've ever been charged with, I was not convicted of. Hey, and I'm one of the best lawyers in this area. But
for
anyway,
real.
yeah, I guess my whole thing is to say like, you know, drugs are bad. They ruined a huge portion of my life that I will never get back. They have riddled both me and Sabar's life with terrible pain that we will never be able to digest. And if you guys out there know someone or have someone in your life that is fighting through this, know that there's absolutely no way that you can help them like just stop, right? Like it has to be done through like love and guidance and bringing them to professionals, right? Not like handcuffing somebody to a bed with some Imodium. Like this is a lot of shit to work through, and I hope it brings some perspective when people are like, damn, like Dark has almost 12 years clean and he is still psychologically addicted to the process of shooting drugs. In my head, I can see it right now, and it excites me. I would never do it again. I would die before I did it again, but it's still programmed inside of me. That's scary. So reach out to your friends and your family, people that are going through this. If you're going through this, you can reach out to me. I'm sure Sabar would probably say the same thing.
For
If
sure.
anybody out there is hurting, struggling, or wants to talk, or if you're clean, if you're on your journey and you're sober and you want to talk, reach out, man. But
For
I don't
real.
want anyone feeling like they're isolated, or that friend or family member, that loved one, whoever, if they're isolated, bring them back in. Be judgment free. Tell them that you're not there to judge. You're there to love them. That's
And
it.
and you got to understand too that just because you haven't gone through an addiction doesn't mean that they're any different to you. Like, you also got to understand some of the people in our lives have never been through this. Like, we're probably the first ones in our family that have actually gone through this, where we're actually open about it. Like, they wouldn't talk about this. They would just say, oh, he drinks a lot or he does this, right? But we're probably ones in a couple of our families that are actually kind of talking about this and letting you guys know, like, hey, we did have this issue and this is what we did. And that's why I like, to be honest, I try to push a lot of psychedelics, because a lot of the reason that I had an addiction was because I wasn't able to face my past. I wasn't able to look deep inside of myself and realize that everything that I thought the drugs made me be, or when I was under that influence of the drugs, I was already that. I have always been that person. The problem is I just didn't have the balls to face who I truly was. And psychedelics made me realize that and made me reprogram myself I'm gonna tell you this. I've probably been in a couple journey, maybe 5 journeys in total, where I've done ayahuasca, mushrooms, and mescaline. 5. That's it. But every time I do a journey, I figure out something better about myself, and I realize that I need to love myself first, but also learn to love everybody else unconditionally. Never judge them. If they did this to me, I'm still gonna love them, because the problem was that if I got hurt or I got angry with somebody was because I had expectations of that person. But who am I to put expectations on somebody else? I should just be able to love them for who they are.
Yeah, bingo. That was beautiful. Very true. And I think a lot of things get muddied in our life because of, judgment, fear of judgment. Mostly this comes from, ego, pride, things just kind of getting in the way, right? Like like I've been open about this that my wife and I had recently separated. And if we were to actually effectively eliminate our ego and pride from the conversation and sit down and talk and not be worried about the other casting judgment on us, if we could just sit down and have a conversation, like how far we could go just by talking, even if we never got back together, just actually having a conversation and caring and loving. And this is where people get confused about like caring and loving people. So I got in a conversation with somebody that was like, "Oh, these people on the left are commies and they're Marxists and they should die." And I was like, "Well, hold on, like." What do you think about my views? Oh, well, you're based, like that's totally different. Say, okay, what if I told you that I voted for Obama in his first term,
Yeah,
right? Like that's the kind of person, that's the leftist, right? And I was like, well, I did. It's like, do people have the right, or the ability or capability of changing, growing and like seeing more, changing their views once things are exposed to them? And shouldn't every single other human being, man, woman, child, whatever, aren't they all our brothers and sisters? Right? Like why can't we all look, like why can't a lot of these people out here be like, I disagree with you, but I still love you and care about you. Right? Like for me,
facts.
when I talk to somebody who fundamentally disagrees with me, I can still look at them and say, I disagree with you, but I still love you and I still care about you.
No,
A
for
lot of
reals,
people
bro.
don't do that.
That's true unconditional love. Like that's what Jesus was teaching. That's what Buddha was teaching. Like that's what you guys need to understand. That the problem is when we love each other for who we are, everything will be perfect. But at this time, they don't want us to do that. They want us to be divided, because when we're divided, we're easier to control, and we're also easier to fight each other. Like it's inner conflict. It's easier when there's
Yeah,
divisions and groups.
yeah. Well, before we get off here, I want to show something, and this is something that is very special. Okay, so dark be the new Jesus over here. No, I'm not like. Look, I am nowhere near anything close to anyone to be. No, I'm just saying, I want to practice those types of things, and despite my human, like my gut instinct of being mad and judging, like don't cast judgment, like be curious, right? With this little phrase I remember, don't be furious, be curious. Like don't get mad, don't cast judgment, ask questions. And what I learned through that is when I ask someone questions about maybe their thoughts and ideals that differ from mine, once they have to then go through explaining what they believe, they find out that they don't even truly believe it. They're just
Facts.
parroting other shit that they heard, and then
Repetition.
that leaves an open mind for you to be able to at least plant some seeds of doubt and maybe some things that they believe that aren't very, healthy, and then you could potentially change someone's mind. I'm not saying that my way is the right way or what I think is the best or whatever, but I'm saying there are a lot of people out there that have a lot of very unhealthy uh, ideals and thoughts, and it's no bueno. But before we wrap up, I told you guys that there was going to be a new 80% frame dropping very soon. Now, you're not going to hear about it. You're not going to read about it on the internet. You're not going to see it. It's going to be another week or two. Nobody else has them. There is a very small amount in the United States, and you guys aren't going to see them until it's ready to be unveiled. And when y'all see this shit, y'all are going to shit your fucking pants. And not only that, but I want to let you know, 1776 Supply Co. sent me something very special. And with this something very special, they also sent me a slide.
Ooh, that shit's sexy, bro.
And
The stainless steel look, that's amazing, bro.
so you had the other stainless steel
Yeah,
Rook slide, right? This is the
yeah,
Rook
I
slide
have.
from 1776. And there was only two of these. So if you have one and I have the other one, where did this one come from?
So now you have the other one.
I have his. He
Damn, that's love,
gave this
bro.
to me.
That's
He
love.
gave,
That's the homie, bro. Knuckles is the
yeah,
homie.
he gave his only personal stainless Rook slide. And look at that barrel on top, man. This, for any YouTube moderators watching this, this is just a slide. It is just a
Yes.
part. It is not a gun. This is literally just a piece of metal. Look at that gold flush cut barrel. Look at the lines of this slide. It is so beautiful. I mean, it's like jewelry. And the flat on the top of the barrel through the
It looks
cut.
amazing, bro. And the thing with the wear, it starts changing and it gives it like its own style.
Yeah, man. This thing is, I mean, it's got lines like a Ferrari, dude. This thing is so beautiful, man.
Like a Lambo.
He said time travel? Oh, yeah, that makes more sense. Yeah, this thing is fire. Now, pretty soon, you guys are going to see this exact upper on something very, very exciting. And there may be only one place in the world that is going to carry the jigs for this one. And I will let y'all know when that time comes. Now, for anybody out there that's never seen this show, I got a lot of people that came from, believe it or not, from coming to DLD hardware, buying jigs and shit like that. Yes, I am selling jigs for like the Polymer 80 frames, the single stack, the 19, 17, 26, the 21, 20, but I got all of them. I got a whole table stacked up, like, I got a lot. For anybody that came in here not expecting to see or have or hear rather this conversation, like I mentioned before, typically we have conversations of anything that is freedom minded, liberty minded, right? We talk about guns, building guns, printing guns. We talk about we've talked about the founding documents. We talk about anything like
Uvalde.
medical. Yeah, we talked about government conspiracy shit. We've talked about everything, right? Anything that is freedom and liberty minded is on this program. However, it's important that we also have conversations like this to get to like the real shit, real life shit, and drug usage just happens to be one of those things. And this is proof that there is real life on the other side if you stop. Not quitting, right? And actually, who was it? The dude that wrote Tom Sawyer, the guy that wrote Huckleberry Finn.
Yeah.
He said, "Quitting smoking cigarettes is the easiest thing to do in the world. I do it all the time." Quitting is a process. If you're quitting, then you're not stopping. So there's a difference between quitting and just making the decision to stop. So if somebody is out there struggling, trying to figure out what to do, oh, I need to do this and taper off of this and then try this and then switch to this, and just find a way to stop. And it
Find a
may be a
way.
process, but just find a way to stop, to truly get
And
away.
and like
Mark Twain.
CT, like
Right.
CT said it, bro. Getting straight is freedom. We are free now. Like because we stopped that, because we got sober, we are free. Like I haven't felt this alive in the longest time. Like to be honest, like that's why I think I try to share now more about certain experiences because I want you guys to see like, look, I'm not perfect, but at this moment, I'm living my best life. To be honest, even after
You
my
know,
losses, even after my falls, I'm living my best life. And I know Dark is living his best life also.
I appreciate that. I'm still working on it, but that couldn't be more true. And like something as simple as like owning a firearm again, right? Like so I sold all my guns when I went back to using drugs. Sold all of them except one. I kept one that my father got me, and I had pawned it. And this was a really really important handgun that my dad got me, but I pawned it to a friend. And as soon as I got clean and I saved up money, I went back to him and I bought it back from him. The moment that I got that back and had it in my hands, it was a symbol of like me
Yeah.
being free, you know, and spending that much money on something that wasn't illicit narcotics was something that
Yeah.
was really important to me. And this is the famous chrome, the hard chrome factory Glock 19 with the blue Kimlite backplate, and it's on a factory 19 frame. And this being something that was so special was kind of like a symbol of me getting the control back in my life. And I feel you, man, through like everything that you've done and gone through. And I got nothing but respect for you, man. And you've
Yeah, man.
overcome a lot of huge challenges, and you should be really proud of yourself.
No, thank you, bro. And like I've told you, bro, I've told you you've gone through so much, bro. Like people don't understand that when we have gone through addictions, we pretty much been to the bottom and back multiple times. So I know that what you're going through, bro, you're gonna overcome, bro. You're gonna
Appreciate
overcome, and you're gonna be a better person and a stronger man, bro. Because you've already done it multiple times. So stay dangerous. I love you, no homo, bro, and I love you guys too. I appreciate all of you guys, especially the ones that support me. Thank you for all of that. It means a lot
Hell
to
yeah.
me.
Hell yeah. We do. We have a bomb ass community here of really good people that actually fucking care. Too many choices. I do have it on the way. It is going to be sent to me probably within the next couple weeks. I didn't know this, but 1776 Supply Co. is actually Cerakoting the Glock 33 for me. So I told them to slow down though, that they're giving me too much shit. I was like, yo, y'all got to bring it down a notch. Like, y'all are giving me like, jewelry, like gun.
Yeah, they're good people, bro. Shout out to 1776. Make sure you guys check out their new drop that they did. Make sure you guys go support Dark. He's done a lot for the community, so show him some love.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that, and I appreciate all you guys, man. And thank you for sticking around and listening to our drug rants. But it's so people can have like an awareness of what the reality of that shit is. But of course, naturally, I'm going to end the stream just like I do every other time, which is we got to follow the rules, right? In a world without rules, all we have is chaos. So rule number one is to always be kind. Hold on, I'm sorry. Before I do this. Sabar, do you have anything else you want to close with, my brother?
Nah, tomorrow I'm gonna be interviewing Flying Rich, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Make sure you guys tune in. Sabar Prince 2A on YouTube.
Hell yeah, that's what's up. And that was the next thing I was going to ask. So just to close out before we do, if you could let everyone know who you are, what you do, where they can find you.
So I go by Sabar Prince. You guys could find me on Instagram, Sabar Prince, on YouTube, Sabar Prince 2A, and I 3D print, and I also tell people to take mushrooms, psychedelics, because they will help you. To be honest, I know I push that a lot, but I think that's my calling,
Dark.
aka
Nobody's
Mexican
gonna hang
Jesus.
around for 3 hours on a live stream. I know that's what they told me. But we had like, well, I think we got up to like 80 something. Then we had like 60 something. Then we floated around 50 to 60 people almost the whole time, y'all. We just dropped below 50, like, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes ago.
Oh
So,
damn, that was dope. Thank you guys.
oh, yeah. So yeah, make sure you support Sabar and check out his YouTube channel, Sabar Prince 2A. And now I can close out. My apologies. So rule number one is to be kind. It's so important that we're kind in everything that we do. Oh, hugs, group hugs, big hugs. Love y'all. It's so important that we're kind in everything that we do. That brief interaction that you have with somebody could make a massive impact on their life. Let's consider that you bump into somebody that's going through some of the challenges that we mentioned that we went through, and you just being a random kind person that helped them and contributed to them, it could change their life, right? Um, Also, number two, live a life of care, compassion, contribution, give to others. When you bless others, you become blessed. A hand that's open to give is open to receive. We know that to be true. And we've seen that here, like in actual Luigi, bro. I just talked about you last stream. Where you been at, dog? I hope you're okay. I literally prayed for you. Maybe last week when I mentioned your name in the stream, man. I hope you were doing okay. I miss you. Hope you're doing okay. Love you, brother. Um, So live a life of care, compassion, contribution, give to others. We know that a hand that's open to give is open to receive. So when you bless others, you become blessed. Um, Luigi, hit me up, brother. We'd love to catch up. Also, we know that the only way for us to defeat evil is for good men to be skilled in violence. So make sure that you are becoming as highly skilled in violence as you possibly can be. And of course, last but not least, be safe, be dangerous, and keep that thing on you. So with that, I appreciate all you guys coming in, and we will catch you on the flip side. Peace. Goon beam, baby. Last but not least, y'all, before I forget, please, I'm closing out the stream. I've seen a huge increase in traffic when you guys, as soon as the stream is done, if you guys go rush in and just leave a comment, leave a like, just drop something real quick, just like comment, I love your work, whatever you want to do, whatever you want to say. If you could just leave a comment, like right now, there are 40 people in here. If I got 40 comments like that, this would push the stream out to way more people, and I would so appreciate it. So if you could leave a comment and then also comment on other people's comments, that would be like giving me an internet BJ, and I would so appreciate it. I love all y'all so much. Be safe, be dangerous. Keep that thing on you. Catch you on the flip side. Peace.